Welcome, fellow seekers of the supernatural. Tonight, we embark on a chilling journey through the haunted mansions of Connecticut, each harboring dark histories and restless spirits. From the infamous Snedeker House to the eerie Lockwood Mathews Mansion, these grand estates conceal tales of tragedy and torment. Join me as we uncover the secrets of these haunted abodes, where the past refuses to stay buried. The Snedeker House in Southington, Connecticut, is a location steeped in chilling history and unsettling reports of paranormal activity. This unassuming residence, a colonial-style home typical of the area, holds a past that many might find difficult to reconcile with its quiet suburban surroundings. Originally constructed as a residence, it was later converted into a funeral home, a transformation that left a lingering shadow over the property. When the Snedeker family moved in during the 1980s, they had no idea the history of the house would soon intertwine with their lives in a deeply disturbing way. From the very beginning, the family noticed odd occurrences that could not easily be explained. The first signs were subtle: a cold draft in a hallway with all the doors and windows closed, the faint smell of embalming fluid lingering in the air long after the funeral home operations had ceased, and the occasional creak of floorboards in rooms where no one was present. At first, the Snedekers attributed these events to the house's age, its wooden floors, and the natural settling of an old building. But as weeks turned into months, the phenomena intensified, becoming impossible to dismiss. The family began to witness apparitions that were both terrifying and inexplicable. Shadows would move across walls without a source of light or an object to cast them. At times, the figures appeared human, dressed in antiquated clothing, lingering in corners or near doorways before vanishing when approached. On several occasions, family members reported seeing a dark, indistinct figure at the foot of their beds during the night. These manifestations were not limited to visual experiences. Sounds often accompanied them. Doors slammed shut, footsteps echoed through empty rooms, and the creak of stairs would announce movement that no one could account for. The auditory experiences were often accompanied by feelings of intense dread, an oppressive presence that seemed to fill the rooms, making even the bravest family members uneasy. Perhaps the most disturbing events occurred in the living areas and bedrooms, where personal interactions with the spirits were reported. Objects would move without explanation, lamps would tip over, picture frames would slide across tables, and light bulbs would shatter spontaneously. Some of these occurrences were witnessed by multiple family members simultaneously, leaving them with little doubt that something beyond the ordinary was taking place. The children, in particular, were sensitive to the phenomena. They reported seeing figures who would stare at them silently from corners, hear whispering voices calling their names, and even experience cold hands on their skin while alone in their rooms. The psychological impact on the children was profound, leading the family to seek professional guidance and spiritual counsel. The intensity of the activity prompted the Snedekers to contact paranormal investigators. Teams of researchers documented unusual electromagnetic readings, unexplained temperature drops, and other anomalies consistent with reports of ghostly presence. Investigators noted that the occurrences seemed concentrated in areas of the house that were once part of the funeral home operations, particularly the basement and the room used for body preparation. It appeared as though the residual energy from the house's former life as a funeral home had imprinted itself onto the space, creating a persistent and malevolent force that could interact with the living. The Snedeker family's experience became widely publicized, attracting attention from both skeptics and believers. Their accounts were compelling, as they documented events meticulously, keeping logs of dates, times, and descriptions of each occurrence. Their story eventually inspired the 2009 film, The Haunting in Connecticut, which dramatized the events and brought the house's terrifying reputation to a national audience. While the film took creative liberties, the core elements the family's encounters with apparitions, unexplained sounds, and physical manifestations were drawn directly from their experiences. Visitors and paranormal enthusiasts, who later sought to explore the house, reported feeling a distinct shift in atmosphere upon entering. Many noted a sudden drop in temperature and an oppressive weight in the air, consistent with the experiences described by the Snedekers. Some claimed to hear whispers, see fleeting shadows, or feel touches from unseen entities. Even long after the family moved out, the house retained an aura of unease, a lingering impression that the spirits who had attached themselves to the property were not willing to let it go. The dark history of the Snedeker house underscores the complex relationship between past and present, life and death. Its time as a funeral home, combined with the intensity of the family's experiences, created a nexus of paranormal activity that continues to captivate and terrify. The house serves as a reminder that some histories leave indelible marks, that certain locations retain the memories of past lives and events, and that the boundary between the living and the spectral is sometimes thinner than we might imagine. To this day, the Snedeker house stands as a cautionary tale for those drawn to haunted locations. Its walls, once silent, now carry the echoes of the past footsteps that never reach a floor, voices that whisper in empty rooms, and shadows that move just beyond the edge of perception. For the curious, the brave, or the skeptical, the house remains an enigmatic testament to the power of unresolved histories and the haunting possibilities that lie within seemingly ordinary spaces. It is a place where the ordinary intersects with the extraordinary, and where the experiences of one family have forever etched a legacy of fear and fascination into the fabric of Southington, Connecticut. The Lockwood Mathews Mansion in Norwalk, Connecticut, stands as an architectural gem of the 19th century, a grand estate built to showcase wealth, sophistication, and the promise of high society life. Its Italianate style, sweeping staircases, and ornate interiors are a testament to an era when opulence was a measure of success. Yet, beneath its lavish exterior lies a history that is both complex and tragic, one that has left its mark on the mansion in ways that some claim are far from ordinary. Beyond the carefully preserved furniture and sparkling chandeliers, the mansion has earned a reputation as a place where the past refuses to rest, where the echoes of tragedy and loss seem to linger in the shadows of its grand halls. From the moment visitors step into the mansion, some report a sensation that cannot be explained by the grandeur or the quiet of the building itself. There is often a feeling of being watched, a subtle awareness that the past has not completely moved on. Staff members and tour guides alike have recounted instances where doors close on their own. Unseen footsteps echo across the polished floors, and chandeliers sway ever so slightly as if responding to an invisible presence. The mansion, while stunning, exudes an energy that is palpable, one that hints at the lives and memories that remain embedded in its walls. Perhaps the most frequently reported phenomena are sightings of ghostly figures, appearing both in daylight and after the mansion has closed to the public. Visitors have described fleeting glimpses of women in Victorian-era attire gliding through the hallways, their faces obscured or blurred, as if caught between this world and the next. In the grand ballroom, some have felt sudden chills and sensed figures standing silently at the edges of the room, watching the modern world intrude upon a space once filled with music, dancing, and laughter. Staff have also reported seeing figures descending staircases or moving through rooms where no one should be, only to vanish when approached. These apparitions are often described as subtle, their presence more suggested than overt, leaving witnesses questioning whether what they saw was real or merely a trick of the light and shadow. The mansion has also been the site of numerous unexplained sounds that defy simple explanation. The creak of floorboards, the faint murmur of voices, and the distant echo of footsteps are commonly reported. Visitors recount hearing whispers when no one else is present, soft sighs in empty rooms, and the occasional sound of a door clicking shut on its own. Even when groups tour the mansion together, some report experiencing these sounds individually, suggesting that the mansion interacts with each person in a uniquely personal way. The sounds are often described as coming from areas connected to the mansion's history rooms, once used by servants, private chambers, and hallways near the main living quarters, further reinforcing the idea that the past remains entangled with the present. Beyond visual and auditory phenomena, the mansion seems to exert a psychological influence on those who enter. Guests often report feelings of unease, sudden drops in temperature, or an inexplicable heaviness in certain parts of the estate. These sensations are most commonly experienced in the older sections of the mansion, where the original woodwork and construction remain largely untouched. Even in the sunlit rooms, the atmosphere can shift unexpectedly, a fleeting sensation of tension or anticipation that is difficult to articulate but impossible to ignore. Many who have spent time in these areas feel a heightened sense of history, as though the walls themselves carry the memory of the lives once lived within them. Some historians and paranormal investigators have suggested that the mansion's haunting is tied to its history of tragedy and hardship. While the Lockwood Mathews Mansion was designed to impress and inspire, it was also a place where the burdens of wealth, social expectation, and personal loss played out behind closed doors. The stories of family members who lived and died within its walls, including sudden deaths, illnesses, and financial struggles, may have left an imprint, creating a lingering presence that interacts with the living. In this view, the spirits that appear are not malevolent, but are echoes of lives that ended abruptly or left unfinished business, lingering in the spaces they once occupied. Paranormal investigations have recorded unusual electromagnetic readings, cold spots, and other anomalies consistent with reported ghostly activity. Many visitors and staff have experienced sudden, inexplicable changes in temperature, or sensed presences that seemed to follow them from room to room. Cameras occasionally capture strange shadows or orbs, though these remain difficult to interpret definitively. While skeptics attribute these experiences to imagination, fatigue, or environmental factors, the consistency of reports from multiple sources over decades lends credence to the mansion's reputation as a site of supernatural interest. The Lockwood Mathews Mansion today serves as both a museum and a cultural landmark, attracting thousands of visitors annually who come to admire its architecture and learn about its historical significance. Yet, alongside the educational tours, the mansion's haunted reputation continues to draw those intrigued by the paranormal. For these visitors, the mansion offers a dual experience, a journey into history, and a brush with the unexplained. Even those who do not witness apparitions or hear mysterious sounds often leave with a sense that the mansion holds more than just its physical artifacts. It holds memories, emotions, and perhaps fragments of those who once walked its halls. The Mark Twain House in Hartford, Connecticut, is widely celebrated as the residence of Samuel Clemens, better known as Mark Twain, one of America's most beloved authors. Its Victorian Gothic architecture, elaborate woodwork, and intricately designed rooms make it a striking testament to Twain's success and the literary legacy he created. Yet, beneath the grandeur and the charm of this historic home lies a darker, more somber layer of history. Personal tragedy and sorrow have seeped into the very walls of the house, leaving an indelible mark that some visitors and staff claim can still be felt to this day. The mansion, while a museum and cultural landmark, has become a place where the echoes of past grief linger, manifesting in ways that are both unsettling and inexplicably real. Mark Twain moved into the Hartford residence in 1874, envisioning it as a haven for his family and a space to foster his writing. The house was filled with art, antiques, and personal touches that reflected both Twain's literary stature and his family's tastes. However, what was meant to be a sanctuary of creativity and domestic comfort soon became a stage for personal tragedy. Twain's life was marred by sorrow within these very walls. He endured the death of his beloved wife, Olivia Langdon Clemens, and several of his children, most notably his daughter Susie, who died at a young age. These losses left a profound emotional scar, and it is said that the grief Twain experienced permeated his home, embedding a sorrowful energy that continues to linger. Visitors to the Mark Twain house often describe experiences that defy simple explanation. Some have reported hearing unexplained footsteps echoing through the hallways, even when no one else is present. The faint rustle of fabric, the soft creak of a door, and the sudden chill of air in certain rooms are phenomena that recur in multiple accounts. These sensations seem to follow a pattern, often concentrated in areas tied to family life: the bedrooms where children once played, the study where Twain penned his works, and the parlors where the family gathered for conversation. For many, these experiences evoke a sense of presence, an impression that the house itself remembers the lives and sorrows that unfolded within it. Sightings are another common occurrence, reported by visitors. Some have claimed to see shadowy figures moving gracefully through the house, figures that resemble members of the Clemens family. Guests have described seeing a tall man with a mustache in period attire, standing silently near the study or the library, only to disappear when approached. Others recount glimpses of a young girl playing in the corners of rooms or sitting quietly near the windows, watching the world outside with a melancholy gaze. These apparitions are often fleeting and subtle, leaving witnesses questioning whether they have truly seen a spirit or simply imagined it. Yet the consistency of such reports lends a compelling, eerie weight to the stories. Auditory phenomena are particularly unsettling within the Mark Twain house. Whispered conversations, laughter that fades abruptly, and even the distant sound of a piano playing softly have been reported by both staff and visitors. Some accounts suggest that these sounds mimic the activities of family members from the past: children laughing in the hall, adults speaking softly in adjoining rooms, or Twain himself dictating notes aloud. While some might attribute these sounds to the creaks and groans of an old house, many who experience them insist there is a deliberate, almost human quality to the noises, as if the spirits of the Clemens family are replaying fragments of life long gone. Temperature anomalies add another layer to the mansion's enigmatic reputation. Sudden cold spots in otherwise warm rooms, breezes that appear without a source, and a sense of heaviness in certain corners of the house are all phenomena reported with startling regularity. These physical sensations often coincide with moments when visitors feel most aware of a presence, enhancing the sense that the mansion is alive with echoes of past emotion. Some researchers have suggested that these experiences could be a manifestation of residual energy from the family's grief, imprinted on the building through the intensity of their sorrow and suffering. The house's history of sorrow and tragedy has led many to consider it a place of emotional haunting rather than malevolent activity. The spirits, if they are indeed present, seem less inclined toward harm and more like remnants of memory, lingering in spaces that hold significant personal meaning. They are shadows of the people who lived and loved here, caught between the joy and pain of their mortal existence. The combination of architectural beauty, historical significance, and the weight of personal tragedy creates a unique environment where the boundary between past and present feels extraordinarily thin. Paranormal investigators and historians alike have been drawn to the Mark Twain house, documenting unusual readings, unexplained shadows, and audio anomalies. While skeptics argue that the house's creaking floors, drafts, and old architecture could account for some of these occurrences, the sheer volume and consistency of first-hand experiences suggests something beyond ordinary explanation. Visitors often leave with a sense of having brushed against a presence from the past, a fleeting glimpse of Twain's personal life and the sorrows endured by his family. The Mark Twain house today is preserved as a museum, educating visitors about Twain's literary contributions, while also keeping the family's personal story alive. For those interested in the paranormal, the house offers an additional, intangible layer of intrigue. Whether or not one believes in ghosts, the experiences reported within these walls provide a connection to the emotional history of a family that shaped the life of one of America's most iconic authors. There is a poignancy in knowing that the creativity, love, and grief of the Clemens family continue to resonate in the house, lingering in ways that are deeply human and profoundly mysterious. The Sterling Opera House in Derby, Connecticut, is a building that carries both the weight of history and the intrigue of the unexplained. Constructed in the late 19th century, it was once a grand hub for entertainment, hosting everything from theatrical performances to community gatherings. The ornate architecture, with its sweeping balconies, intricately carved woodwork, and elegant stage, spoke to an era of opulence and cultural pride. Yet, over the decades, the vibrancy of the opera house faded, As the arts declined in the region and audiences dwindled, the building fell into disuse, leaving behind empty halls and silent balconies. But beneath the surface of this decay lies a more mysterious layer, one that has drawn the attention of paranormal enthusiasts and curious visitors alike. From the moment one steps into the Sterling Opera House, there is an atmosphere that feels different, almost palpable. Many visitors report a sense of being watched, an uneasy sensation that the empty seats and darkened corridors are not entirely devoid of presence. The building's history of performances and gatherings seems to linger, leaving behind echoes of past lives and events. Paranormal investigators have documented numerous occurrences that defy ordinary explanation, ranging from subtle sensations to startling auditory and visual phenomena. One of the most frequently reported experiences involves disembodied voices. Visitors often hear whispers that seem to drift across the empty theater, soft conversations that vanish when approached, and the faint murmur of applause or audience reactions in rooms that have been empty for decades. These sounds often occur near the stage or in the upper balconies, areas historically filled with performers and spectators. Some believe these are residual echoes of the countless events once held here, as if the energy of excitement, anticipation, and emotion has been imprinted onto the very walls and furnishings of the opera house. Shadowy figures are another common element in the Sterling Opera House's paranormal lore. People have described glimpses of shapes moving across the stage, disappearing into the wings or blending into the darkness of the seating area. Some witnesses report seeing figures dressed in period attire, their presence evoking the memory of past performers or patrons. These apparitions often appear fleetingly, visible only in the corner of one's eye, vanishing when directly observed, which lends a sense of both eeriness and mystery. Many believe these figures are remnants of the opera house's vibrant past, shadows of lives once intertwined with the building's cultural heartbeat. Investigators have also documented physical phenomena that suggest a presence beyond the ordinary. Doors have been known to swing open without any apparent cause, lights flicker in unoccupied rooms, and cold spots appear unpredictably, often in areas associated with heavy foot traffic during the building's active years. Footsteps echo along the creaking floors, yet no one is there. Some visitors report objects being moved or shifted slightly, as though the weight of unseen hands has brushed against them. These experiences contribute to a growing consensus that the Sterling Opera House is more than a relic of architectural and cultural history. It is a space where past energies continue to manifest. The history of the building itself may help explain these phenomena. In its heyday, the Opera House hosted not only performances, but community events, political gatherings, and social functions. The excitement, tension, and emotion of such occasions likely left strong imprints on the environment, long after the laughter, applause, and chatter faded. These echoes may have lingered, creating what paranormal researchers call residual hauntings, imprints of intense past experiences that replay under certain conditions. Whether these manifestations are residual or conscious spirits, the experiences reported by visitors suggest that something within the Sterling Opera House continues to interact with the present. Many paranormal enthusiasts are drawn to the Opera House not only for its historical significance, but also for the chance to witness these phenomena firsthand. Investigations often involve capturing audio recordings, photographing the empty hallways, and conducting overnight stays to monitor unexplained activity. Equipment sometimes picks up faint voices, temperature fluctuations, or movement that cannot be easily explained. Even without technology, visitors frequently report a creeping sensation of unease, a feeling that the building itself is alive with memory, attentive to their presence. It is this intersection of history, architecture, and the unexplained that makes the Sterling Opera House such a compelling location for those intrigued by the supernatural. While some skeptics attribute the experiences to natural causes, the building's age, settling floors, and acoustics, it is difficult to ignore the consistency of reports from multiple independent witnesses. The combination of audible phenomena, visual sightings, and tactile sensations paints a picture of a place where the past refuses to remain silent. Many who enter the opera house leave with an undeniable sense of having shared a space with echoes of another time, experiencing the weight of history in a way that is both thrilling and unsettling. The Sterling Opera House also serves as a reminder that the boundaries between past and present can be fluid in spaces with significant emotional and cultural history. The building is a repository not just of memories, but of human energy, the joy of performances, the anxiety of opening nights, and the quiet moments of reflection in empty halls. For some, these lingering energies provide a unique opportunity to connect with history in an experiential way, offering glimpses of lives and events that have long since passed, but are not entirely gone. The John York Home in North Stonington, Connecticut, is a building steeped in history, its walls carrying the weight of centuries and the echoes of lives long past. Constructed in the 18th century, it originally served as a private residence, before later being converted into an inn and tavern, welcoming travelers and locals alike. Its long-standing presence in the community has made it a witness to countless stories of human triumph and tragedy. But one incident in particular has cemented the home's reputation as a site of lingering unrest. The tale most often recounted by locals involves a fatal duel between two soldiers, a conflict born of jealousy and pride. The duel was fought over a woman whose beauty and charm had inspired rivalry, and the confrontation ended in death, leaving one man slain on the property. The violence of that moment, sudden and irrevocable, seems to have left an indelible mark on the house. Ever since, stories have circulated of unexplained activity, strange sounds, and shadowy figures moving through the rooms, suggesting that the spirits of the dueling soldiers may never have left. Visitors to the John York Home frequently report a palpable sense of unease upon entering. The atmosphere is often described as heavy, almost as if the building itself remembers the intense emotions that once played out within its walls. Some guests recount hearing the echo of raised voices in empty rooms, the sound of footsteps pacing the wooden floors late at night, and the faint clinking of metal that cannot be accounted for. Many of these auditory phenomena are associated with the upstairs rooms and the main hall, areas historically used for both residence and innkeeping, places where tensions and conflicts were most likely to have unfolded. Sightings of shadowy figures are also common in the home. Witnesses describe fleeting shapes that move along corridors, vanish around corners, or appear suddenly in doorways before dissolving into the air. These figures are often seen near the spots where the duel is believed to have occurred, as if the spirits are perpetually replaying the final confrontation or guarding the spaces tied to their mortal lives. Some reports even describe figures that seem to linger at the edge of vision, partially translucent, and outlined in the dim glow of candlelight or moonlight filtering through the windows. The home has also been known to exhibit physical disturbances. Doors have been reported to open and close on their own. Chairs and small objects shift without explanation, and cold spots appear in areas otherwise warm. Some have even felt a sudden, inexplicable pressure, a sense that an unseen presence is standing close by. These experiences are particularly pronounced during quiet evenings or late at night, when the normal sounds of the and surrounding area have faded, leaving only the echoes of the past to resonate. Paranormal investigators have been drawn to the John York Home for decades, intrigued by the consistency and intensity of the reported phenomena. Many have captured anomalous readings on electronic equipment, including unexplained temperature drops, unusual electromagnetic fluctuations, and faint sounds on audio recordings that resemble whispers, footsteps, or the rustle of clothing. Some investigators suggest that these occurrences represent residual energy, the imprint of traumatic events, replaying in the environment, while others propose the presence of conscious entities, aware of their surroundings and interacting with the living. Local lore adds further weight to the home's haunted reputation. Stories of guests or workers experiencing sudden chills, hearing distant shouting, or catching glimpses of figures in period attire are widespread. These accounts often share common elements: an early evening or late night time frame, areas of the house associated with the duel or inactivities, and a sense of being watched or followed. The cumulative effect of these narratives reinforces the notion that the John York home is more than a historical building. It is a vessel of memory, a place where the intensity of past emotions continues to manifest in the present. The home's tragic history appears to have woven itself into the fabric of its existence. Unlike modern structures, which rarely carry the weight of such intense emotional experiences, the John York home has witnessed events of profound human significance: love, jealousy, conflict, and death. This long-standing exposure to intense human emotion is thought by some paranormal researchers to be a key factor in the persistence of supernatural phenomena. The duel, in particular, represents a moment of high emotion and sudden death, conditions often cited as catalysts for residual hauntings or the creation of restless spirits. Visitors who enter the John York home often find themselves reflecting not only on the eerie occurrences, but also on the human stories behind them. The building is a reminder that history is composed not just of dates and events, but of the emotions and experiences of the people who lived through it. The shadowy figures, unexplained noises, and sudden chills are more than just curiosities. They are echoes of the human drama that once unfolded in these spaces, a reminder that intense emotions and unresolved conflicts can leave traces long after the participants are gone. The Noah Webster House in West Hartford, Connecticut, stands as a testament to the life and legacy of one of America's most influential figures in language and education. Born in this historic home in 1758, Noah Webster would go on to become a pioneering lexicographer, shaping the way Americans write, speak, and understand their own language. Today, the house operates as a museum, preserving artifacts from Webster's life and offering visitors a glimpse into 18th century New England living. Yet behind the walls lined with period furniture and carefully curated exhibits lies a quieter, more mysterious history, a lingering presence that some say refuses to leave. Visitors and staff alike have reported sensations and events that defy easy explanation. Cold spots, often appearing in rooms with no drafts or open windows, have been a recurring phenomenon. Guests walking through the house on a crisp spring day have felt sudden drops in temperature, as though invisible hands are brushing past, or an unseen presence is standing just behind them. These temperature anomalies are not isolated to a single area of the house. They seem to travel unpredictably, making their source impossible to trace. For many, this inexplicable chill is the first sign that the house may hold more than just historical artifacts. Unexplained noises are another commonly reported phenomenon. Staff members recount hearing the sound of footsteps echoing along the wooden floors. When the building is empty, the subtle creak of a door swinging shut on its own, or the soft rustle of clothing and papers in rooms that should otherwise be silent. Occasionally, the faint sound of a quill scratching on paper, or the quiet turning of book pages, has been reported, particularly in the study, where Noah Webster himself once composed his pioneering works. These auditory experiences, fleeting yet persistent, seem to carry a sense of purpose, as if the spirits of the past are engaged in their own quiet tasks, continuing routines left incomplete centuries ago. Several visitors have claimed to see fleeting apparitions, though always partially obscured or just at the edge of vision. Some describe shadowy figures moving across hallways or standing near the corners of rooms, vanishing when approached. These sightings are often accompanied by a sense of being watched or followed, a subtle but undeniable presence that seems to respond to human attention. The museum staff has reported similar experiences, with lights flickering or objects shifting slightly as if nudged by unseen hands. While these occurrences are never threatening, they carry a weight of history, a reminder that the house has borne witness to the lives, thoughts, and emotions of generations long gone. The house itself, with its well-worn floorboards, low ceilings, and antique furnishings, seems to amplify these experiences. Historical buildings often carry with them an atmosphere that is difficult to define, a sense of continuity that stretches beyond the present moment. In the case of the Noah Webster House, this continuity may be intensified by the remarkable life of its most famous resident. Noah Webster's intellect, dedication, and presence seem to have left an imprint, a subtle echo of his industrious spirit that lingers in the rooms where he once lived, learned, and worked. Staff and visitors report a quiet energy in certain areas, particularly the study and adjacent living spaces, that is at once calming and eerie, as though the house itself remembers and honors the man who shaped American language. The house's long history also encompasses the many other lives it has sheltered over the centuries. Before becoming a museum, it was home to Webster's family and later housed generations of local residents, each leaving traces of their daily existence. The accumulation of memories, joys, and sorrows may contribute to the sense of presence reported by modern-day visitors. Paranormal researchers often note that older homes with rich histories are prone to such phenomena, as the emotional resonance of past events can linger in ways that are subtle yet perceptible. In this context, the Noah Webster House is not only a historical landmark, but also a repository of human experience, layered and complex, capable of manifesting in sounds, sensations, and fleeting visions. Several anecdotal accounts reinforce the home's haunted reputation. A teacher visiting with a group of students once felt a sudden, unexplained chill while discussing Webster's educational contributions, only to see the shadows of two figures cross the room behind her. Another visitor reported hearing the faint rustle of fabric and the soft whisper of a name. Noah, while walking alone through the hallways, a sound that left an eerie impression long after leaving the house. Museum staff have also reported doors closing gently without any apparent cause, and the occasional flickering of lights in areas not serviced by the electrical system at that moment. Each occurrence adds a layer to the house's enigmatic presence, creating an atmosphere that is both intriguing and unsettling. The combination of historical significance and paranormal activity makes the Noah Webster House a compelling destination for visitors. Guests come to explore its exhibits, to learn about the life of a man who left an indelible mark on American education, and to witness the preservation of 18th-century architecture. Yet many leave with stories of strange sensations, fleeting shadows, and unexplained sounds. Experiences that suggest the house is more than a static museum, is alive with the echoes of its past. For some, the haunting is subtle and introspective, a quiet reminder of lives that have passed. For others, it is a vivid, tangible presence that challenges their understanding of the boundary between past and present. The Old State House in Hartford, Connecticut, stands as a silent witness to centuries of history. Built in the late 18th century, this venerable structure has served a variety of civic purposes, from housing legislative sessions to hosting public gatherings and judicial proceedings. Its walls have absorbed the echoes of countless voices, from impassioned politicians debating bills to citizens protesting in the square outside. Over time, however, the Old State House has become more than just a relic of government and civic life. It has become a repository for the memories of those who lived, worked, and even died within its stone and timber, leaving behind a legacy of unexplained phenomena and ghostly presences. Visitors to the Old State House often remark on the palpable sense of history that permeates its halls. The rooms, lined with original woodwork and period furnishings, seem to vibrate with the energy of centuries past. Yet for some, this energy takes on a more eerie form. Numerous reports detail sensations of being watched, cold drafts in areas without windows, and a sudden feeling that an unseen presence is passing by. These occurrences are not fleeting. They have persisted for decades, suggesting that the building retains some imprint of its long and sometimes turbulent history. One of the most frequently reported phenomena is the sound of voices where none should exist. Tourists have recounted hearing heated debates echoing through empty chambers, the murmurs of officials long gone, or even the sound of footsteps pacing along the upper floors when no one is present. Staff members often hear doors creaking open and shut, papers rustling, or distant whispers that vanish as soon as someone tries to locate their source. These auditory experiences are accompanied by a sense of unease, as though the past is intruding upon the present, refusing to be forgotten. Apparitions are another common occurrence within the Old State House. Shadowy figures have been spotted in hallways, sometimes disappearing when approached. Some witnesses describe seeing spectral forms dressed in 18th century attire, appearing as if frozen in a moment of historical significance. In particular, the chambers where legislative debates once raged are said to be hotspots for sightings. Visitors report glimpses of figures seated at long tables, speaking animatedly to one another, only to vanish when attention is focused directly on them. These fleeting visions create the impression that the past continues to play out within the very walls of the building. The old State House's history of justice and punishment has also contributed to its haunted reputation. Executions and trials conducted on or near the premises have left a somber mark on the site. Accounts of cold spots and sudden chills often coincide with areas once used for judicial proceedings, leading some to speculate that the spirits of those who faced punishment remain tethered to the place. Visitors have described a heavy feeling in certain rooms, as if the sorrow and fear of previous centuries have seeped into the very foundations of the building. In addition to auditory and visual phenomena, some have reported tactile experiences, cold hands brushing against clothing, the sensation of an invisible presence standing nearby, and even the subtle pressure of a ghostly touch have been described. These sensations often occur in areas with historical significance, such as the chambers of government or spaces used for public assemblies. The consistent nature of these reports suggests that the old State House retains an unusual sensitivity to the emotional and historical energy of its past inhabitants. Staff members who work in the building regularly recount experiences that cannot be easily explained. Lights flicker in rooms with no faulty wiring, and temperature fluctuations occur in localized areas, creating sudden chills or warmth with no apparent cause. Objects occasionally move or fall, seemingly without intervention. These small but unsettling events contribute to the overall sense that the building is alive with the memories of those who have walked its floors before. For some, these experiences are frightening, while for others, they are a compelling connection to the rich history of Hartford and the generations that shaped it. Historical researchers and paranormal investigators alike have been drawn to the old State House, intrigued by its dual identity as both a monument to civic life and a site of unexplained phenomena. Equipment often captures irregular readings, from sudden drops in temperature to anomalous electromagnetic fields, particularly in areas linked to key historical events. Investigators report that even when the building is empty, it seems to pulse with activity, as though the past itself refuses to rest. Visitors who enter with an awareness of the building's history often report more pronounced experiences, suggesting that knowledge of the site's past may heighten sensitivity to its lingering energies. The old State House continues to function as a museum and historical site, offering tours that detail its architectural features, legislative history, and role in Hartford's development. Yet, alongside the educational experiences, many visitors leave with stories of ghostly encounters, murmurs in empty rooms, fleeting shadows, and the chilling sensation of unseen eyes watching from the corners. The juxtaposition of historical education and paranormal activity creates a unique atmosphere, allowing guests to feel intimately connected to both the tangible and intangible aspects of the past. The Glebe House in Woodbury, Connecticut, stands as one of the region's most historically significant residences. Built in the 18th century as a parsonage for the local church, the house has witnessed centuries of life, change, and upheaval. Its walls have absorbed the rhythms of daily existence, from the quiet routines of clergy and their families to the hustle of community gatherings and social events. Yet, alongside its rich historical significance, the Glebe House has earned a reputation for something far less tangible: unexplained phenomena that suggest the presence of spirits who have not entirely left the premises. Visitors to the Glebe House often describe an atmosphere thick with history, a sensation that seems to press upon the senses as soon as they step through the front door. The antique furnishings, original wooden beams, and carefully preserved interiors create an ambience that feels both familiar and distant, as if the past is pressing forward to meet the present. but many who have spent time within the house report experiences that go beyond the normal unease that comes with old buildings. Strange noises, inexplicable cold spots, and fleeting shadows have all been documented, leading some to believe that the Glebe House remains a place where the living and the dead coexist in subtle ways. One of the most commonly reported phenomena involves temperature fluctuations. Guests have noted sudden drops in temperature in certain rooms, often accompanied by the sensation of being watched. These cold spots are particularly pronounced in areas that once served as private chambers for the parson and his family. Some visitors have even claimed to feel a presence close enough to brush against them, yet when they turn, no one is there. The chilling nature of these experiences has prompted many to leave rooms suddenly, unsettled by the invisible energy that seems to inhabit them. Auditory experiences are also frequently reported. The Glebe House, though silent in its modern form, has been described as carrying faint sounds that echo through its halls. Whispered voices, footsteps on creaking floorboards, and the rustle of unseen movement are common occurrences. In several accounts, visitors have heard the faint strains of conversation as if a group of people were present. Yet, when they investigate, the rooms remain empty. These auditory phenomena are often accompanied by a feeling of anticipation or anxiety, as though the spirits are trying to communicate or perhaps replaying moments from the past that they cannot leave behind. Visual sightings have also been part of the house's storied history. Guests and staff alike have reported seeing shadowy figures moving just beyond the corner of their eyes. Some have described apparitions that appear to be wearing period clothing, moving deliberately through rooms before fading into walls or doorways. In some cases, these figures seem almost corporeal, casting shadows or briefly interacting with objects before disappearing entirely. One particularly chilling account involved a guest who saw a figure at the top of the staircase, standing silently and watching, only for it to vanish the moment they called out. The history of the Glebe House itself may offer some clues as to why these experiences occur. For more than 2 centuries, the house served as a parsonage, and over that time, it has been home to generations of clergy and their families. The emotional weight of lives lived in devotion, struggle, and community service may have left an imprint upon the structure. Many of the phenomena reported align with areas that would have been central to daily life: the bedrooms, the dining room, and the main hallway. It is as if the house retains a memory of the routines, joys, and sorrows of those who once lived there. Historical research has also uncovered instances of personal tragedy within the Glebe House. Illnesses, untimely deaths, and the loss of children were all part of life in colonial and early American Connecticut, and the parsonage was no exception. Visitors often speculate that some of the lingering energy they encounter may be tied to these moments of grief and upheaval. The sense of melancholy reported in certain rooms seems to echo the emotional history embedded in the very structure of the house. The Glebe House has become a site of interest for paranormal investigators and enthusiasts. Investigators frequently set up equipment to capture temperature changes, electromagnetic fluctuations, and audio anomalies. While many of these findings are subtle, they often correspond to the areas where visitors have reported the most unusual experiences. Some investigators claim to have recorded unexplained whispers or the sounds of footsteps moving through empty rooms, adding credibility to the house's reputation for paranormal activity. Despite these investigations, much of the Glebe House's mystery remains unsolved, and the phenomenon continues to attract those intrigued by the possibility of encountering the unknown. For modern visitors, the Glebe House is both a historical treasure and a source of fascination for those drawn to the supernatural. Tourists and locals alike come to admire its architecture, learn about its history, and explore the stories that have shaped the Woodbury community. Yet, for those who are sensitive to the atmosphere or who have spent time alone in its rooms, the experiences are often more intense. The sense that the house is alive, that it carries echoes of the past in ways both subtle and profound, creates an unforgettable experience. The Blackberry River in Norfolk, Connecticut, stands as a picturesque example of New England charm. Nestled along the gently flowing river for which it is named, The inn attracts visitors seeking the serenity of the countryside, cozy accommodations, and a warm welcome from its staff. Its exterior, with white glabbered walls, flowering window boxes, and a wraparound porch, exudes the kind of charm that makes guests feel immediately at home. Yet, despite its inviting appearance, the inn has earned a reputation for something far more unsettling, a lingering presence that continues to haunt its halls. The most frequently reported phenomena at the Blackberry River Inn center around the spirit of a woman who died there under mysterious circumstances many years ago. The details surrounding her death are fragmentary and shrouded in local legends. Some accounts suggest a tragic accident, while others hint at a darker story, though no definitive record has ever been found. Regardless of the precise circumstances, her presence is said to remain, lingering in the quiet corners of the inn and leaving an impression on anyone who spends time within its walls. Guests who stay in the inn often report experiences that defy logical explanation. One of the most common occurrences involves sighting a woman in period clothing, usually described as pale and ethereal, moving quietly through the corridors. She is sometimes seen gazing out a window or walking along the hallways before vanishing into thin air. These apparitions are fleeting, often caught in the corner of one's eye, leaving an unsettling sense that someone is watching, yet never fully revealing themselves. Unexplained sounds are another hallmark of the inn's paranormal activity. Visitors frequently describe the soft murmur of conversation when no one else is present, the faint sound of footsteps on the wooden floors, or doors creaking open and closed without any apparent cause. Occasionally, the sounds take on a more tangible form, such as the subtle rustle of fabric or the distant clink of a teacup being set down. The combination of these noises and the inn's historic charm creates an atmosphere that is at once welcoming and haunting, a tension that keeps the legend alive in the minds of those who experience it. Temperature anomalies are also commonly reported. Guests often notice sudden drops in temperature, particularly in certain rooms where the woman's presence is said to be strongest. These cold spots can be startling, especially when accompanied by the feeling of an unseen presence nearby. Some have described the sensation as a gentle brush against the skin or the impression that someone is standing silently just behind them. The unnerving nature of these experiences has led some visitors to retreat quickly from certain areas, leaving the inn's quiet corridors echoing with an invisible occupancy. Staff members have their own stories of encounters that reinforce the inn's reputation for haunting. Housekeepers, who spend long hours alone in the building, have reported objects moving on their own or hearing faint voices when the building is otherwise empty. Even seasoned employees, accustomed to the rhythms of the inn and its guests, admit to feeling watched at times, particularly during late-night shifts. For many, these experiences are unsettling but not malevolent, suggesting a lingering presence rather than an aggressive spirit. The historical context of the inn adds depth to the experiences reported. The Blackberry River Inn has been a part of the Norfolk community for over a century, serving as both a residence and a gathering place. Its long history has witnessed countless lives, joys, and tragedies, all of which may have left an imprint on the structure. Some visitors speculate that the woman who died on the property had a deep connection to the building, and that her spirit remains tied to the place she once inhabited. This theory is reinforced by reports of her appearances in specific rooms and areas associated with her life, suggesting a continuity between past and present. Paranormal investigators have also been drawn to the Blackberry River Inn, hoping to capture evidence of its haunted reputation. Using cameras, audio recorders, and electromagnetic sensors, some have recorded anomalies consistent with guest reports, sudden drops in temperature, unexplained sounds, and faint shadowy movements. While these findings are not always conclusive, they contribute to the aura of mystery that surrounds the inn. The combination of historical intrigue and paranormal activity has made the inn a point of fascination for researchers, ghost enthusiasts, and curious travelers alike. For modern visitors, the Blackberry River Inn offers a dual experience. By day, it is a serene retreat with cozy rooms, gentle river views, and a welcoming staff. By night, the inn becomes a place where the past whispers through the walls, and the presence of the woman is felt most acutely. Guests may find themselves pausing in hallways, sensing a shadow just beyond the corner of their vision, or hearing a faint voice in the silence of their room. These encounters, while sometimes unsettling, add to the depth and allure of staying in a place steeped in history and mystery. The Devil's Hop Yard State Park in East Haddam, Connecticut, is widely known for its scenic beauty, with cascading waterfalls, dense woodlands, and rugged terrain that draws hikers, families, and nature enthusiasts alike. Yet, beyond its picturesque trails and serene landscapes, the park carries a history that has given rise to legends both chilling and mysterious. Locals have long whispered of strange happenings, unexplained lights, eerie noises, and ghostly figures that suggest the area is far more than a peaceful retreat into nature. For those willing to explore its trails after dusk, the park offers a glimpse into a world where the boundary between the living and the supernatural seems unusually thin. The origin of the park's name hints at the darker associations tied to its history. The Devil's Hop Yard is said to be named for the way the leaves of certain plants appear to twist and coil, almost as if writhing in agony, while other stories suggest the name is linked to supernatural tales told by early settlers. One legend recounts a story of a man who made a pact with the devil to harvest his crops more successfully, only to meet a tragic and mysterious end. Visitors to the park frequently report phenomena that defy logical explanation. One of the most common experiences involves sightings of shadowy figures among the trees. These apparitions are rarely seen directly. Instead, they appear at the edge of vision, moving silently through the underbrush, or standing still for a moment before vanishing entirely. Hikers and campers have described the unsettling feeling of being watched, the sensation that someone or something is following their path through the trails. The eerie quiet of the park at night only amplifies this sensation, making even the faintest rustle of leaves or distant crack of a branch seem ominous. Unexplained lights have also been a recurring part of the park's lore. Visitors have reported seeing flickering lights deep within the forest, appearing like lanterns but disappearing when approached. Some speculate these lights are the spirits of early settlers who met untimely deaths, their presence lingering in the area to guide or warn the living. Others believe they are the manifestations of the devil's influence, as local tales often intertwine the natural beauty of the area with sinister supernatural forces. Whatever the source, these lights continue to fascinate and frighten those who encountered them. Sounds within the park add another layer of mystery. Late at night, campers and hikers have described hearing disembodied voices whispering through the trees, carrying on the wind as if the forest itself were speaking. Footsteps crunch along the trails when no one is present, and occasional thuds or rustling noises seem to come from the shadows, unnerving even the most experienced outdoorsmen. Some have reported hearing laughter or low chants, adding an almost ritualistic undertone to the otherwise serene environment. These auditory experiences are often paired with the visual sightings, reinforcing the park's reputation as a place where the supernatural intersects with the natural world. Historical accounts suggest that the area has long been a site of unexplained activity. Stories passed down from early settlers describe mysterious disappearances, strange illnesses, and a pervasive sense of unease that seemed to emanate from the woods. The local Native American tribes also had legends regarding the area, speaking of spirits that roamed the land and watched over it with vigilance. The convergence of these narratives over centuries has created a tapestry of folklore, blending history, tragedy, and the unexplained into the modern-day experience of visiting the park. Despite perhaps because of its eerie reputation, Devil's Hop Yard State Park remains a popular destination. Many visitors come during daylight hours to enjoy the waterfalls and trails. Yet even in broad daylight, the stories of apparitions and strange occurrences linger in the minds of those who know the legends. Some thrill seekers intentionally camp or hike after dark, hoping to witness firsthand the lights, shadows, and sounds that have been reported for generations. These visitors often report an increased sense of alertness and tension, a feeling that the forest itself is alive in ways that transcend the ordinary. Paranormal investigators have also taken interest in the park, drawn by decades of accounts describing ghostly activity. Using cameras, audio recorders, and other devices, some have captured anomalies consistent with visitor reports, flashes of light that defy explanation, unexplained temperature drops, and faint, almost imperceptible sounds when the forest should be silent. While skeptics attribute many of these occurrences to natural causes, wildlife, shifting shadows, or human error, believers argue that the park's unique energy cannot be easily dismissed. The Devil's Hop Yard is more than just a state park. It is a place where the past and present intertwine. The tragic histories, local legends, and unexplained occurrences combine to create an environment that is both beautiful and unnerving. Whether it is the spectral lights moving among the trees, the shadows flitting at the edge of perception, or the whispers carried on the wind, there is an undeniable sense that the park holds more than natural wonders alone. It is a space where the ordinary world brushes up against the extraordinary, leaving visitors with an experience that lingers long after they have left the trails. For those who tread its paths, the Devil's Hop Yard State Park offers a unique blend of awe and unease. During the day, the park charms with its waterfalls, flora, and fauna. At night, however, the landscape transforms into a domain where the supernatural seems to reside just beyond the reach of the light. Visitors who respect the stories and tread cautiously may leave with only a sense of wonder. But those who venture deeper into the darkness may find themselves in the presence of something far older, far more mysterious, and far more unsettling than the natural world alone can explain. The Remington Arms Factory in Bridgeport, Connecticut, is a sprawling industrial complex with a history that stretches back over a century. Once a hub of innovation and production, the factory played a pivotal role in supplying munitions during both World Wars and countless other conflicts. The hum of machinery, the clatter of tools, and the constant movement of workers defined the plant's daily rhythm. Today, however, the factory sits largely abandoned, its machines silent, its corridors empty, and yet, for those who dare to step inside, the echoes of the past remain palpable. Visitors and urban explorers who venture into the Remington Arms Factory often report a sense of unease the moment they cross its threshold. The vast halls, lined with rusting equipment and peeling paint, seem to carry an invisible weight. Footsteps are often heard where no one walks, heavy and deliberate, echoing through the cavernous spaces. Some describe the sensation of being watched, a cold awareness that follows them from room to room. Shadows flit at the edges of vision, disappearing when looked at directly, leaving only a lingering sense of something unseen moving in the periphery. One of the most chilling aspects of the factory is its history of accidents and fatalities. During its operational years, the nature of the work handling explosives, heavy machinery, and volatile chemicals meant that injuries and deaths were unfortunately common. Some of these workers met tragic ends, often alone in dark corners of the plant. Locals believe that these spirits never left, their presence imprinted on the very structure of the factory. Those who have spent extended periods inside report hearing machinery operating on its own, the rhythmic pounding of presses and hammers echoing as if production never ceased. Some claim to see apparitions in old factory uniforms, moving along assembly lines or peering from shadowed alcoves, only to vanish when approached. The factory's administrative offices also seem to harbor paranormal activity. Broken chairs and scattered papers tell a story of sudden abandonment, and visitors often report hearing the faint clatter of typewriters, the rustle of papers, and even the low murmur of voices conducting meetings long past. Some have described feeling a presence standing behind them while reviewing old blueprints or machinery schematics, only to turn and find the space empty. The pervasive chill in these areas adds to the sensation that the past has not entirely relinquished its hold. In addition to the sounds and apparitions, the factory has a reputation for strange phenomena that defy conventional explanation. Lights flicker in rooms with no power, doors open and close on their own, and tools occasionally shift positions as if handled by invisible hands. Some explorers have captured unexplained orbs on camera, hovering near old workstations or following visitors along the assembly lines. Others report sudden drops in temperature, goosebumps on the skin, and an oppressive feeling of dread that intensifies the deeper they venture into the building. The factory's long corridors are particularly disorienting at night. Navigating the labyrinthine layout, visitors often find themselves retracing steps without realizing it, as if the building itself has shifted. Some describe hearing distant conversations echoing through the halls, snippets of words like instructions or warnings, spoken in tones that feel both urgent and desperate. These experiences have led many to believe that the spirits of the Remington workers are not malevolent, but instead are endlessly bound to their place of labor, performing their duties in perpetuity, unable to rest. Urban explorers and paranormal investigators alike have documented numerous accounts of activity within the factory. EVP, electronic voice phenomenon recordings, have captured faint voices, often calling out names or numbers, or repeating phrases related to production. Some investigators have reported objects moving without explanation, from small tools to larger pieces of equipment, seemingly guided by unseen hands. Others recount moments of intense emotional presence, a feeling of sorrow or anxiety that fills the air, particularly in areas associated with historical accidents. Despite its eerie reputation, the Remington Arms Factory continues to attract those fascinated by the supernatural. Historians and ghost hunters alike are drawn to the site, intrigued by the confluence of industrial history and paranormal lore. The factory stands as a testament not only to the city's industrial past, but also to the lives and tragedies of the workers who once filled its halls. Every echo, every flickering light, every unexplained noise seems to carry the weight of a bygone era, reminding visitors that the stories of the past linger in the spaces they once inhabited. The exterior of the building, with its worn brick facade and rusted smokestacks, adds to the sense of foreboding. Even before entering, visitors speak of a heaviness in the air, a premonition of the experiences that await inside. Local legend has it that those who disrespect the factory or attempt to take souvenirs often encounter heightened activity, as if the spirits themselves are guarding their history and their stories. The boundary between the living and the spectral presence feels particularly thin here, as though the factory exists simultaneously in the present and in its own haunted past. For many, exploring the Remington Arms Factory is not just an adventure. It is an encounter with history itself. The walls and machinery carry the imprints of decades of labor, of triumphs and tragedies, and of lives abruptly ended. The ghosts, if they exist, are silent witnesses to a world that once was. Their presence felt in the chill of a room, the echo of unseen footsteps, or the flicker of light where none should be. Those who leave the building carry with them not only memories of decaying industrial beauty, but also a lingering sense of the lives and spirits that continue to inhabit the space. The 1754 house in Woodbury, Connecticut, is a quaint and historic establishment that has welcomed guests for centuries. Its charming colonial architecture, complete with wooden beams, creaking floors, and period furnishings, creates an atmosphere steeped in history. Guests at the 1754 house often recount experiences that defy explanation. Footsteps echo through the hallways at odd hours, sometimes starting at the top of the stairs and fading toward the ground floor, only to vanish completely. The rhythmic sound of footsteps seems almost human, deliberate, yet when doors are opened or rooms checked, the halls are always empty. Some guests have described feeling an invisible gaze following them, a subtle pressure in the air, as if someone unseen walks beside them, lingering just beyond the edge of perception. The inn's doors also appear to have a mind of their own. Many guests report doors opening and closing without cause, swinging gently on their hinges, or slamming shut suddenly, startling those nearby. Some describe the phenomenon as almost conversational, with doors responding to their movements, as if the house itself is acknowledging their presence. Lights occasionally flicker in certain rooms, casting shadows that seem to move independently of any natural source. The combination of these events leaves a palpable tension, an awareness that the inn is alive in ways beyond the physical. Staff members, to have shared stories of unusual occurrences. Housekeepers have entered rooms to find furniture slightly rearranged or items moved from their previous positions, with no explanation other than the possibility of a supernatural presence. Guests' personal belongings sometimes shift inexplicably, and there are tales of objects being found in entirely different rooms from where they were left. These repeated incidents have led many to conclude that the spirits inhabiting the inn are not malevolent, but rather engaged in subtle, ongoing interactions with the living. The 1754 House Inn's long history contributes heavily to its reputation for paranormal activity. Built in the mid-18th century, the building has been home to countless residents, innkeepers, and travelers over the centuries. Many have left their mark, both in memory and in spirit, creating an energy that seems to permeate the structure. Those who stay overnight often report vivid dreams or a sudden sense of nostalgia, as though the past has seeped into the present. Some claim to have heard faint voices conversing, laughter echoing down empty hallways, or whispered warnings carried on the wind through open windows. One of the more unsettling stories comes from guests who have stayed in the inn's original bedrooms. These rooms, with their exposed wooden beams and antique furnishings, seem particularly receptive to the presence of the past. Visitors have described cold drafts that appear without explanation, sometimes accompanied by the faint scent of wood smoke or flowers long out of season. At times, the feeling of being watched intensifies, and some report seeing shadowy figures near the foot of their beds or by the window, only for the shapes to dissolve when approached. Despite these experiences, the inn exudes a sense of warmth and history, blending the eerie with a comforting connection to bygone eras. The inn's public areas are not exempt from paranormal encounters. In the dining room, chandeliers sometimes sway despite the absence of air currents, and silverware occasionally shifts as though set by unseen hands. Guests have reported feeling a sudden chill when passing through the main hall, accompanied by fleeting glimpses of figures dressed in period clothing. Some visitors say they hear soft footsteps in the corridor outside the lounge, as if a long-departed guest is making a late-night visit, retracing familiar paths. The layering of centuries of human presence makes each room a potential conduit for encounters that are equal parts historical and spectral. Paranormal enthusiasts who have investigated the inn describe a remarkable sensitivity in the building. EMF meters, audio recorders, and thermal cameras have captured unusual readings, often coinciding with the times guests report activity. Some recordings reveal faint voices, though indistinct, while thermal imaging occasionally detects heat signatures where no living person stands. These occurrences suggest that the spirits may be tied not only to the structure, but also to the energy and emotions of those who once called the inn home. The cumulative experiences create an atmosphere where history and the supernatural coexist, leaving a lasting impression on all who visit. Despite the frequent paranormal activity, the 1754 House Inn remains a beloved destination. Guests are drawn not only to its historic charm, but also to the stories of lingering spirits and unexplained phenomena. Many find a sense of connection to the past, as if walking the halls allows them to touch a bygone era. The inn's legacy is one of both comfort and uneasy reminder that history leaves its mark not only in records and artifacts, but also in the spaces where life unfolded long ago. The presence of unseen guests, while sometimes unsettling, adds depth and character, making each stay a unique and memorable experience. Whether one believes in ghosts or simply appreciates the weight of history, the 1754 House Inn offers an experience unlike any other. It is a place where footsteps echo across centuries, doors move on their own, and the feeling of an unseen presence is constant. The inn's enduring charm, combined with its mysterious and sometimes chilling energy, creates an environment where the past is never truly gone. Visitors leave with a sense that they have touched history in a profound and personal way, sharing a space with the spirits of those who came before. The Yankee Peddler Inn in Torrington, Connecticut, stands as a striking example of 19th century architecture. Its brick facade and ornate detailing hinting at the history contained within. Once a bustling hotel, welcoming travelers and dignitaries, the inn has long been a hub of activity, and over time, it seems that the energy of its past residents and visitors has never truly left. Guests and staff alike have reported experiences that defy explanation, leading many to believe that the inn is a place where the boundary between the living and the dead is unusually thin. Visitors to the Yankee Peddler Inn often describe an atmosphere that is both welcoming and subtly unsettling. The grand lobby, with its polished wood floors and intricate chandeliers, exude this elegance, yet some guests immediately sense an intangible presence. Flickering lights in the hallways, unexplained cold drafts, and the distant sound of voices are among the most commonly reported phenomena. These occurrences are not confined to any one area. They seem to move with the ebb and flow of the inn, touching rooms, corridors, and stairwells with their invisible hand. One of the most frequently recounted experiences involves ghostly figures glimpsed in peripheral vision. Guests have described seeing shadowy forms in doorways or at the ends of hallways, only for them to vanish when approached. Some have reported figures dressed in period clothing, as if remnants of the inn's earliest visitors have remained to observe life as it continues in the modern era. The shapes are often fleeting, appearing and disappearing without warning. Yet the sensation of being watched lingers long after the apparition has faded. The inn's rooms also hold their own stories. Guests staying in the upper floors have noted that doors sometimes open and close on their own, while the soft creak of floorboards echoes through the night, even when the corridors are empty. Some visitors awaken to the sensation of an unseen presence at the foot of their bed, or feel the sheets being gently tugged, as though an invisible hand is at play. Others have reported hearing whispers or soft murmurs, indistinct but undeniably human, that seem to emanate from the walls themselves. These experiences, while often subtle, create a lasting impression, leaving guests both intrigued and uneasy. Staff at the Yankee Peddler Inn have also witnessed phenomena that defy logical explanation. Housekeepers have found rooms prepared exactly as they left them, only to return minutes later and discover furniture slightly shifted or objects out of place. Reports of electrical anomalies, such as lights flickering or appliances turning on without intervention, are not uncommon. Many who have worked at the inn for years speak of a pervasive sense of history and energy that seems almost sentient, as if the inn itself acknowledges the presence of the living while simultaneously harboring those who have passed on. The Yankee Peddler Inn's long history contributes to its reputation for paranormal activity. Since its opening in the 19th century, the hotel has hosted countless guests, from traveling salesmen and families to politicians and notable figures of the time. The building has witnessed countless arrivals and departures, celebrations and sorrows, leaving an imprint on its walls and furnishings. Some paranormal enthusiasts believe that these accumulated experiences have created residual energy, replaying echoes of past events that manifest as apparitions, sounds, and strange sensations. Many stories focus on specific areas of the inn. The grand staircase, for instance, has been a hotspot for reported sightings and sounds. Guests often hear the faint thud of footsteps ascending or descending when no one else is present. Others have reported feeling a chill when passing by, accompanied by an unshakable sensation of being observed. Some claim to have seen figures pausing mid-step on the landing, only to vanish the moment they turn their gaze. The staircase serves as a conduit between floors, and many believe it is a focal point for lingering spirits. The dining area of the inn, with its ornate decor and historic ambience, has also been the site of paranormal reports. Staff have reported utensils moving slightly, chairs shifting, and lights flickering during periods when the building is otherwise empty. Guests dining late in the evening sometimes hear faint laughter or the murmur of conversation, as if invisible patrons continue to enjoy a meal from another era. These occurrences are often subtle but consistently present, suggesting an ongoing presence rather than isolated incidents. For those who are intrigued by the paranormal, the Yankee Peddler Inn offers an environment rich with possibility. Paranormal investigators using audio recorders, thermal cameras, and electromagnetic sensors have captured unusual readings, often aligning with guest reports. Faint voices, unexplained temperature changes, and sudden movements are commonly documented, reinforcing the belief that the inn is not merely a historic building but a living repository of experiences, both past and present. Despite or perhaps because of its reputation for hauntings, the Yankee Peddler Inn remains a beloved destination. Guests are drawn not only by its historical charm, but also by the possibility of encountering the unexplained. Staying at the inn becomes an experience that bridges centuries, allowing visitors to connect with the lives and energies of those who came before. While some encounters may startle or unsettle, many guests leave with a sense of awe, appreciating the depth of history and mystery that permeates the building. The Yankee Peddler Inn stands as a testament to the lasting imprint of history and human experience. Its walls contain stories of laughter, sorrow, and intrigue, and for those sensitive to the supernatural, these stories continue to resonate. Footsteps in the hallways, flickering lights, and shadowy figures are not merely remnants of the past. They are reminders that history lives on in ways both visible and unseen. Visitors who spend a night within the inn's storied walls often leave with a profound sense that they have shared space with echoes of another time, a place where the present and the past exist side by side. The Norwich State Hospital in Preston, Connecticut, stands as a haunting relic of a past that many would prefer to forget. Established in the early 20th century, the hospital once housed thousands of patients, providing care for those with mental illnesses. In an era when treatment was often rudimentary and harsh, the sprawling campus, with its long corridors, towering brick buildings, and isolated wings, was designed to feel institutional. Yet for many who spent time there, it became a place of fear, isolation, and suffering. Though the hospital closed its doors in the 1990s, the shadows of its history refused to fade. And today, the abandoned buildings are a hotspot for paranormal activity, drawing curiosity, seekers, ghost hunters, and those intrigued by the echoes of human pain. Visitors to the Norwich State Hospital often describe a pervasive feeling of unease the moment they step onto the grounds. The air seems heavy, almost charged with energy, and a silence hangs over the campus that feels unnatural. Even on bright, sunny days, the atmosphere carries a somber weight, as if the walls themselves remember every anguished cry, whispered plea, and anguished scream that once filled the halls. Many who have entered report the sensation of being watched, as if invisible eyes follow their every movement, and the experience can be both unnerving and overwhelming. The abandoned hallways of the hospital are among the most commonly reported areas of paranormal activity. Visitors frequently hear disembodied footsteps echoing across empty floors, sometimes accompanied by soft murmurs or indistinct voices that seem to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. Some have reported hearing the faint sound of laughter or crying, moments that are impossible to pinpoint, yet undeniable in their emotional resonance. These auditory phenomena often intensify in the upper floors and older wings, where peeling paint, rusted radiators, and long-forgotten medical equipment create a setting that feels suspended in time. Among the most chilling reports are those of physical sensations that defy explanation. Several visitors have claimed to feel invisible touches, such as a hand brushing against their shoulder or a sudden chill that races down their spine. In some cases, objects have been observed moving without any visible cause. Doors swing open on their own. Wheelchairs rock slightly, and old medical charts are sometimes found shifted or knocked over. Such occurrences are often fleeting but leave a lasting impression, convincing many that the spirits of former patients still occupy the space, lingering long after their deaths. One of the most infamous areas of the Norwich State Hospital is the long corridor known as the East Wing, where some of the most severely ill patients were once confined. Paranormal investigators and urban explorers alike have reported heightened activity here. Electronic equipment often malfunctions, cameras capture inexplicable anomalies, and temperature readings fluctuate sharply without reason. Visitors have described hearing whispers calling out names, as if the building itself remembers the individuals who once lived there. Some have even reported shadowy figures darting across the hallway or standing silently at the end of the corridor, vanishing when approached. The hospital's abandoned rooms offer equally unsettling experiences. Patient wards, with rows of empty beds and rusted metal frames, evoke a sense of desolation that is difficult to shake. Many who enter these spaces describe a palpable sadness, as if the lingering energy of those who suffered there has seeped into the very walls. Some have seen fleeting figures at the foot of the beds, or noticed doors closing slowly without anyone near them. The air often carries an inexplicable chill, and the feeling of being observed is almost constant. And emotions of those who once lived, and perhaps died, within its confines. Staff who once worked at the hospital have also shared their stories. Many recount hearing voices in empty rooms, footsteps in hallways when no one else was present, and even seeing apparitions in uniforms or hospital gowns. Some claim to have witnessed former patients wandering the halls long after the hospital was officially closed, their expressions vacant, yet filled with a lingering sense of longing. These accounts suggest that the paranormal activity is not limited to outsiders. The very souls of those who were intimately connected with the hospital continue to exert their presence. Investigations into the Norwich State Hospital have often confirmed the experiences reported by visitors. Audio recorders frequently pick up unexplained sounds, faint whispers, groans, and even screams that were not audible at the time of recording. Thermal cameras capture cold spots and fleeting shadows that appear to move independently. Some researchers believe that the intense emotions experienced by patients during their time at the hospital may have left residual energy, a kind of imprint that replayed like a recording, manifesting in ways that modern visitors can perceive. Whether these phenomena are spirits of the departed or echoes of human suffering remains a topic of debate, but the experiences are undeniable to those who witness them. The grounds of the hospital, with overgrown paths and crumbling structures, add to the sense of isolation and mystery. Trees bend and sway as though moved by invisible hands, and the wind through broken windows sometimes carries faint whispers. Visitors report that the most intense experiences often occur at night, when shadows lengthen and the building's true atmosphere emerges. Some claim to see fleeting figures outside the windows, moving silently among the ruins, only to vanish when approached. The sense that the past has not truly passed lingers across the campus, creating an environment where the line between the living and the dead feels blurred. The Norwich State Hospital in Preston remains a compelling sight for those drawn to the paranormal. Its abandoned halls, decaying patient rooms, and long corridors act as a portal to a time when human suffering, care, and tragedy intertwined. For some, a visit is an exploration of history. For others, it is a brush with the supernatural. Whether it is the echoes of disembodied voices, the fleeting shadows at the edge of vision, or the chilling sensation of unseen touches, the hospital offers a unique window into a world where the past is ever present. Guntown Cemetery in Naugatuck, Connecticut, is a site steeped in history and shrouded in mystery. Established in the 18th century, it is one of the oldest burial grounds in the state, holding the remains of countless individuals whose lives spanned generations. The cemetery's age and its connection to early American history give it a solemn, almost reverent atmosphere during the day. But as the sun sets and shadows stretch across the gravestones, Guntown Cemetery transforms into a place that many describe as chilling and undeniably haunted. Over the years, countless visitors have reported experiences that defy explanation, leading many to believe that the spirits of those buried here have not found peace and continue to linger in the grounds. Walking through the cemetery, one is immediately struck by the weathered headstones, some leaning precariously with the passage of time, others cracked or worn beyond recognition. The names etched in stone, many centuries old, speak of lives lived long ago, of families that have faded from memory, yet whose presence seems to linger. The quiet of the cemetery is profound. On clear, calm days, the stillness feels almost sacred. But there is an undercurrent of something more, a subtle tension in the air, a sense that the grounds themselves are watching. Visitors have described an overwhelming feeling of being observed, an unshakable sensation that they are not alone, even when the cemetery appears empty. Reports of paranormal activity at Guntown Cemetery are numerous and varied. One of the most common phenomena described is the appearance of ghostly apparitions. Visitors frequently report seeing shadowy figures moving between the headstones or along the edges of the cemetery. These figures are sometimes fleeting, disappearing when approached, leaving behind only the lingering sense of their presence. In other instances, witnesses describe full-bodied apparitions dressed in clothing from centuries past, standing silently as if paying respects, only to vanish moments later. The sudden, unexplained appearances have left many with a lasting impression of unease, prompting some to leave the cemetery earlier than intended. Auditory experiences are also frequently reported. Whispering voices, often unintelligible, have been heard drifting among the gravestones. Some describe the sensation of hearing names called softly, as if the dead are attempting to communicate. The whispers are said to appear without any discernible source, and the intensity often fluctuates depending on the time of day and the visitor's location within the cemetery. On still nights, the sounds seem to carry across the grounds, adding to the chilling ambience. Footsteps on the gravel paths or the rustle of unseen movements among the tombstones are also commonly reported, leaving visitors questioning whether anyone or anything is following them. Many who visit Guntown Cemetery report an emotional weight that is difficult to explain. A sudden sense of dread, fear, or sadness can wash over individuals, even in the absence of any visible phenomenon. Some have experienced physical sensations, such as sudden chills, goosebumps, or the feeling of an unseen presence brushing against them. Paranormal investigators who have explored the cemetery frequently note unexplained fluctuations in temperature, with cold spots appearing seemingly at random, intensifying the sense that the supernatural is at work. The cemetery's history is partially responsible for its haunted reputation. Over the centuries, Guntown has been the final resting place for a diverse range of individuals, from early settlers and soldiers to families who endured the hardships of colonial life. Many of these individuals met untimely or tragic ends, from diseases and accidents to conflicts with neighboring towns. The violent or untimely deaths of some of the interred are believed to contribute to the lingering unrest among the spirits. The layering of history, combined with the emotional weight of so many lives, may create an environment ripe for paranormal activity. Certain areas of the cemetery are particularly noted for strange occurrences. A section near the oldest graves, dating back to the 1700s, has been described as particularly active, with multiple reports of apparitions and mysterious sounds. Visitors claim that the shadows cast by the weathered stones at twilight can appear almost human in shape, leading to disorientation and fear. Others recount seeing lantern-like lights floating among the graves, lights that vanish when approached. These experiences are not limited to nightfall. Some visitors report daytime phenomena as well, such as objects moving inexplicably, or the sudden feeling of being watched. Local legends surrounding Guntown Cemetery only add to its mystique. Stories of restless spirits, curses, and unexplained tragedies have been passed down through generations. While some dismiss these tales as folklore, the consistency of reports from visitors and paranormal enthusiasts suggests that there may be more than myth at work. Many who explore the cemetery with an open mind report experiences that are both eerie and undeniable, reinforcing the idea that Guntown Cemetery is a place where the past continues to linger. Paranormal investigations at Guntown Cemetery often include the use of modern equipment, such as audio recorders, cameras, and thermal imaging devices. These investigations have captured anomalies that defy conventional explanation: shadowy figures, unexplained lights, and voices that seem to emerge from thin air. While skeptics attribute these phenomena to imagination or environmental factors, those who have experienced them firsthand often describe feelings of fear, wonder, and deep curiosity, a mix of emotions that underscore the cemetery's reputation as a haunted site. Guntown Cemetery in Naugatuck remains a powerful reminder of how the past can persist in the present. Its headstones, shadows, and whispers are not merely relics of history. They are active, lingering presences that continue to affect those who enter. The combination of historical significance, tragic stories, and reported paranormal phenomena makes the cemetery a compelling destination for those fascinated by the supernatural. For many, a visit is not just an exploration of history, but a confrontation with the unknown, a chance to step into a space where the dead are never truly gone and the echoes of their lives resonate through the ages. Devil's Hopyard State Park in East Haddam, Connecticut, is widely celebrated for its natural beauty. Its cascading waterfalls, dense woodlands, and winding trails attract hikers, families, and nature enthusiasts throughout the year. Yet beneath this serene exterior lies a history steeped in mystery and a reputation for the unexplained. Locals and visitors alike have long whispered of ghostly sightings, eerie sounds, and inexplicable lights, creating an atmosphere that feels both inviting and unsettling. As the sun dips below the treetops and shadows stretch across the forest floor, the park seems to shift, taking on a quiet intensity that has left countless people questioning whether the supernatural resides among its trails and waterfalls. The most iconic feature of Devil's Hopyard is its Chapman Falls, a beautiful cascade that draws many to the park. By day, the waterfall sparkles in the sunlight, mist rising and scattering rainbows across the rocks. But at dusk, the sound of the water becomes more than just a natural symphony. Visitors have reported hearing voices echoing near the falls, whispers carried over the rushing water, even when the area is completely deserted. Some describe hearing a woman's cry, mournful and distant, while others have claimed a sense of presence just out of sight, a cold chill along the trail that has no apparent source. One of the park's more enduring legends involves the supposed spirits of early settlers and Native Americans who once inhabited the land. Stories speak of ghostly figures wandering the wooded paths, often appearing at the edges of one's vision and vanishing when looked at directly. Hikers recount seeing shadowy silhouettes dart between trees, figures dressed in clothing from centuries past, and sometimes even hearing footsteps that echo their own movements but remain untraceable. These occurrences are reported with startling consistency, leading many to believe that the park is a crossroads between the natural and the supernatural. Another frequently reported phenomenon at Devil's Hopyard is the appearance of mysterious lights. On quiet evenings, witnesses have seen small orbs of light hovering near the trails or above the waterfall, flickering as if trying to communicate. Some speculate that these lights are the spirits of those who met untimely deaths in the area, while others suggest they may be residual energies from long-forgotten tragedies. Attempts to capture these lights on camera often fail, as the orbs vanish or shift in ways that defy explanation, only reinforcing the park's reputation for otherworldly activity. The park's history contributes to its eerie aura. In the colonial era, the land surrounding the park was used for farming and homesteading, and it is said that conflicts with Native American tribes left a trail of sorrow and unresolved tension. Stories have circulated for generations about settlers who disappeared in the forest, their bodies never found, and about mysterious accidents near the waterfall that claimed lives without clear cause. This layering of history and tragedy seems to have imbued the park with an energy that persists to this day. Visitors also report physical sensations that accompany the paranormal activity. Sudden chills in warm weather, the feeling of being watched, and the inexplicable heaviness in the air are common experiences. Some hikers have even described an unshakable dread while walking alone, as if unseen eyes are following their every move. These sensations often coincide with visual or auditory phenomena, creating an immersive experience that many describe as deeply unsettling. Local lore includes tales of the Devil's Footprint, a mysterious depression in the rocks near Chapman Falls that is said to be the mark of the devil himself. Legend claims that the imprint was left when the devil stomped his foot, cursing the land. Whether taken literally or as a symbolic story, the footprint adds to the park's eerie reputation, and many visitors report feeling an inexplicable attraction to the site, as if drawn to its dark energy. Nighttime hikes, though officially discouraged for safety reasons, are a frequent activity among those seeking to witness the park's supernatural phenomena firsthand. Campers and adventurers have told stories of strange sounds in the woods, branches snapping, whispers in the wind, and distant laughter that fades without explanation. Some have woken in the middle of the night to see glowing eyes peering at them from the shadows, only to find the forest empty upon investigation. Paranormal investigators have made their way to Devil's Hop Yard repeatedly over the years, using thermal imaging cameras, audio recorders, and other equipment. They have captured strange anomalies that cannot be easily explained. Unidentified figures, unexplained lights, and voices that seem to answer questions have all been documented. While skeptics suggest that these occurrences may be attributed to the imagination or natural environmental factors, the sheer number of consistent reports lends credibility to the idea that something beyond the ordinary exists in the park. Even during the day, the park can feel otherworldly. Visitors report sudden changes in temperature, unexplained fog that seems to move with intent, and an overwhelming sense of presence near certain areas. Photographs taken by hikers often show strange shadows or faint figures that were not visible at the time, leaving them questioning whether the lens captured something invisible to the human eye. For those intrigued by the supernatural, Devil's Hop Yard State Park offers a unique blend of natural beauty and lingering mystery. Its waterfalls and trails provide a serene environment, yet the stories of ghostly apparitions, strange lights, and chilling sounds create an overlay of unease, whether one believes in spirits or not. The experiences reported by generations of visitors make it clear that the park is far more than a simple scenic retreat. Dudleytown, located in Cornwall, Connecticut, is a place shrouded in mystery and shadowed by centuries of dark tales. Often referred to as the Village of the Damned, this abandoned settlement has earned a notorious reputation that has captivated ghost hunters, historians, and thrill-seekers alike. Once a modest community, Dudleytown was established in the early 18th century by the Dudley family, who settled in the hills of Cornwall to farm and build a life in relative isolation. For a time, the village thrived, with families working the land, raising children, and establishing homes along the dense forested hillsides. Yet over the years, Dudleytown's prosperity slowly eroded, and by the 19th century, the settlement was mysteriously abandoned, leaving only decaying foundations and crumbling stone walls as remnants of its past. The reasons behind Dudleytown's abandonment remain unclear, but the village has become synonymous with misfortune and unexplained occurrences. Local legend claims that the area was cursed by the Dudley family itself or by the land they occupied. Some stories suggest that the settlers were plagued by strange illnesses, mental instability, and a series of untimely deaths that seemed far too frequent to be mere coincidence. Accounts of sudden madness, violent arguments, and inexplicable tragedies became part of the village's lore, giving rise to the idea that the town had been condemned by fate, or perhaps by supernatural forces. Today, the overgrown woods conceal what little remains of Dudleytown's original structures: the stone foundations of old homes, crumbling chimneys, and remnants of wells and pathways peek out from beneath thick vegetation. Visitors and paranormal enthusiasts who venture close to the area often describe an unsettling atmosphere, a palpable sense of unease that seems to cling to the hills. Many report a heavy silence that descends upon the forest, interrupted only by the occasional rustle of leaves or the distant cry of wildlife. It is this silence, combined with the village's grim history, that has fueled countless ghost stories over the years. One of the most persistent tales involves sightings of ghostly figures moving among the trees. Witnesses have described shadowy silhouettes that appear to watch from a distance, vanishing when approached. Some claim to have seen people in period clothing walking along the old pathways, unaware of the modern world intruding on their once thriving village. These apparitions are often accompanied by strange sounds, whispers carried on the wind, disembodied footsteps, and faint voices that seem to echo from the earth itself. Visitors report feeling sudden chills, the sensation of being touched by unseen hands, or an overwhelming sense of dread that forces them to retreat from the site. The village's eerie reputation has led to stories of those who entered Dudleytown, experiencing misfortune afterward. Hikers and ghost hunters claim that compasses spin wildly, electronic equipment malfunctions, and even a sense of disorientation takes hold as if the land itself resists human intrusion. Some attribute these phenomena to natural environmental factors. But for many, the experiences reinforce the legend of a place cursed by the past. Locals tell of those who became inexplicably ill or suffered personal tragedies after spending time near the village, further cementing the Village of the Damned moniker. Dudleytown has also been linked to psychological and emotional disturbances. Paranormal enthusiasts often describe a heavy atmosphere of despair, as if the land itself has absorbed the anguish of those who once lived there. Reports of sudden headaches, nausea, and overwhelming anxiety are common among visitors, adding another layer of mystery to the abandoned settlement. Some researchers suggest that these reactions may be a result of the dense forest, isolation, and heightened imagination. Yet countless first-hand accounts of unexplainable phenomena make it difficult to dismiss entirely. The forest that now surrounds Dudleytown is dense and treacherous, creating a natural barrier that has kept most visitors at a distance. Despite its inaccessibility, stories of the village continue to circulate widely. Paranormal investigators and urban explorers have documented eerie sounds, anomalous lights, and photographic evidence of unexplained shadows, though skeptics question the validity of these findings. Regardless of the explanations, Dudleytown has become a symbol of historical mystery intertwined with the supernatural, attracting those fascinated by ghost stories and haunted places. Some researchers have explored the idea that Dudleytown's haunting is a residual imprint of past traumas. The numerous hardships endured by the village's original settlers, isolation, and repeated tragedies may have left an enduring energy on the land, manifesting as apparitions, strange sounds, and unsettling emotions. Others believe that the village was cursed by its early residents, a place where the intentions and actions of the past have left a permanent mark on the present. The legends of Dudleytown have inspired countless stories in popular culture, cementing its place in the lore of haunted Connecticut. The village's combination of history, mystery, and the unexplained creates a compelling narrative, a once thriving community reduced to ruins, haunted by the echoes of its past and the spirits of those who suffered within its bounds. Its reputation as the Village of the Damned continues to draw attention, though the area remains largely off-limits to the public due to safety concerns and preservation efforts. Fairfield Hills State Hospital in Newtown, Connecticut, is a place steeped in history, mystery, and an enduring reputation for paranormal activity. Originally opened in 1931 as a psychiatric facility, the hospital was designed to treat patients with mental illnesses in a time when such conditions were poorly understood. For over 60 years, Fairfield Hills operated as a central institution for psychiatric care in the region, housing thousands of patients in its sprawling complex of brick buildings and extensive grounds, though intended as a place of treatment and recovery. The hospital's long history was marked by tragedy, hardship, and suffering, leaving a lingering aura that many today believe is still palpable within its abandoned halls. The architecture of Fairfield Hills reflects its era, with imposing brick structures, long corridors, and high ceilings. When the hospital was operational, patients were often isolated in large wards, many of which were overcrowded. Reports from the mid-20th century described the hospital as a place of strict routines, where the cries and murmurs of patients filled the air, and staff worked under the pressure of limited resources and challenging conditions. Though the hospital sought to provide care, the combination of institutional practices, mental illness, and the isolation of patients contributed to a heavy, oppressive atmosphere, one that some believe has not entirely dissipated, even decades after the hospital's closure in the 1990s. Today, Fairfield Hills is mostly abandoned, though some buildings have been repurposed for offices or community use. Visitors and paranormal enthusiasts, however, are drawn to the older, unrenovated structures, where the echoes of the past are said to linger. Those who venture inside often report a chilling sense of being watched, as if unseen eyes follow their every step. The silence of the empty corridors is broken only by the occasional creak of floorboards, the distant thump of loose doors swinging in the wind, or the sound of faint whispers that seem to emanate from nowhere. One of the most frequently reported phenomena involves disembodied voices. Visitors have claimed to hear conversations, laughter, or cries of distress when no one else is present. Some describe hearing names called aloud, sometimes in a soft, pleading tone, as if the voices of former patients are reaching out for recognition or help. Others have reported fleeting glimpses of shadowy figures at the end of long hallways, moving just out of clear view before vanishing. These apparitions are often described as indistinct but unmistakably human, and those who witness them say that the sense of unease is immediate and overwhelming. Footsteps are another common occurrence reported at Fairfield Hills. People exploring the old wards and treatment rooms often hear the sound of someone pacing or walking beside them. Yet when they turn to look, the space is empty. Sometimes the footsteps continue in the distance, fading into silence, while other times they seem to follow the visitor from room to room. These experiences contribute to the pervasive feeling that the hospital is not entirely abandoned, and that the presence of past patients and staff still resonates through the halls. Cold spots and sudden temperature drops are also frequently reported phenomena. Visitors often note a sudden chill in certain areas, particularly near old wards, staircases, or treatment rooms. Some describe the air as thick or oppressive, almost as if the building itself is holding its breath. These experiences are often accompanied by an unexplained sense of dread or anxiety, making exploration of the hospital both thrilling and unnerving. Paranormal investigators have documented many of these occurrences over the years. Audio recordings sometimes capture unexplained, sound-soft footsteps, whispers, and faint cries, while photographs occasionally reveal shadowy shapes or orbs that defy easy explanation. Some investigators interpret these events as evidence of residual energy, a kind of echo left behind by the intense emotional experiences that occurred over decades of the hospital's operation. Others speculate that some of the manifestations may be the result of intelligent spirit souls, still trapped or lingering due to unresolved trauma. Local lore surrounding Fairfield Hills also contributes to its haunted reputation. Stories abound of patients who died under tragic or mysterious circumstances, of staff members who suffered stress and burnout, and of the overall oppressive atmosphere that once permeated the hospital. These tales have been passed down over generations, blending fact and legend, and creating a sense that the hospital is more than just a collection of empty buildings. It is a repository of human experience, both tragic and complex. Despite the unsettling accounts, the hospital continues to draw visitors, from paranormal enthusiasts to history buffs. Some come seeking evidence of the supernatural, while others are drawn by curiosity about the building's long and complicated history. The combination of documented reports, local legends, and the hospital's imposing physical presence makes it a compelling destination for those interested in haunted locations. Fairfield Hills State Hospital serves as a reminder that some places carry the weight of their past long after they have ceased to function in their original role. The corridors echo with the lives that were lived within them, the suffering, the confusion, the fleeting moments of hope, and the countless stories left untold. For those who explore its abandoned halls today, the experience is both fascinating and chilling, offering a rare glimpse into a place where history, human emotion, and the unexplained converge. Terrywile Park and Mansion in Danbury, Connecticut, is more than just a picturesque estate. It is a site steeped in history, mystery, and an enduring sense of the supernatural. The mansion, constructed in the late 19th century, was originally the centerpiece of an expansive estate featuring elegant architecture, sprawling lawns, and meticulously maintained gardens. Over the years, Terrywile has witnessed generations of residents, countless social gatherings, and the quiet passage of time, each leaving their mark on the property. While the mansion's exterior still exudes charm and historical grandeur, those who explore its interior often report experiences that hint at an unseen presence, suggesting that the spirits of the past have not entirely departed. Visitors to Terrywile Mansion frequently describe unusual phenomena that cannot easily be explained. One of the most commonly reported occurrences is the flickering of lights throughout the building. In some instances, lights will dim or flare without any electrical malfunction, creating an unsettling atmosphere that seems almost intentional. Guests and staff alike have noted that these flickers often coincide with moments of silence or stillness, as if the mansion itself is aware of their presence. The experience is subtle at first, but repeated incidents can quickly leave a visitor feeling a sense of unease, as if the house is communicating in a language beyond human understanding. Unexplained noises are another hallmark of Mathews Mansion's paranormal reputation. People walking through the hallways have reported hearing soft footsteps echoing across hardwood floors, despite the building being empty. Some have described faint whispers or murmurs, the kind that seem to come from another room or just beyond the edge of hearing. Others have experienced doors creaking open or closing on their own, accompanied by the distinct sound of movement in the upper floors. These auditory phenomena often create a sensation that someone or something is observing the visitors, moving just out of sight. Sightings of ghostly figures have also been reported at Mathews Mansion, though they are typically fleeting and difficult to capture. Witnesses describe vague human shapes appearing in the corners of rooms or at the end of hallways, vanishing when approached. Some have seen figures dressed in period clothing, suggesting that they may be echoes of past residents or guests. In other cases, visitors report feeling sudden, inexplicable chills, as though a presence has walked past them. These sensations are often accompanied by an overwhelming sense of being watched, making the mansion feel alive in ways that go beyond its physical structure. The mansion's rich history offers context for these mysterious occurrences. Mathews was home to affluent families who hosted lavish social events, gatherings, and community functions over the decades. It also served various purposes, including as a community center and public facility, which brought countless people through its doors. The constant human activity, combined with the emotional highs and lows experienced within its walls, may have left an energetic imprint on the building. Some paranormal experts suggest that locations with such layered histories are more likely to exhibit residual hauntings, where past events leave traces that can manifest as sounds, shadows, or sensations. Several staff members and frequent visitors have shared particularly unnerving stories. One account describes a caretaker who, while working alone in the mansion at night, heard what sounded like the laughter of children echoing through an empty hallway. Another visitor reported seeing a woman in a long dress standing near a staircase, only to have her vanish as they drew closer. These accounts are consistent with others, creating a pattern that suggests the mansion is more than just architecturally impressive. It may be a place where the past has found a way to persist. The mansion's paranormal reputation has made it a site of interest for investigators and enthusiasts alike. Paranormal teams visiting Mathews often report unusual audio recordings, including disembodied voices and unexplained creaks, as well as unexplained visual anomalies captured on video or in photographs. While skeptics may attribute these occurrences to natural causes, such as settling buildings or drafts, the consistency and specificity of the reports have contributed to a broader sense of intrigue surrounding the estate. Visitors also report psychological effects, including feelings of unease, sudden fatigue, or an inexplicable pull toward certain rooms or hallways. Some suggest that these sensations may result from the intense emotional energy left behind by the mansion's past occupants. The combination of history, architecture, and lingering emotional residue seems to create a unique environment in which the ordinary and the paranormal intersect, allowing the mansion's hidden stories to surface for those willing to explore. Even today, Mathews Park and Mansion serves as both a historical landmark and a locus for the mysterious, while public tours and events showcase the estate's beauty and significance. The mansion's haunted reputation adds a layer of depth that captures the imagination of all who visit. The idea that the past remains present, manifesting as flickering lights, ghostly figures, and unexplained noises, makes every exploration of the mansion an experience that is both thrilling and unsettling. Terrywile Mansion stands as a reminder that some places carry the weight of their history long after the last resident has departed. The echoes of lives lived, celebrations held, and personal tragedies experienced within its walls continue to reverberate through the estate. Whether one believes in ghosts or interprets the phenomena as echoes of the past, the mansion remains a compelling example of how history, memory, and the unexplained can intertwine. Those who enter Terrywile Mansion today may find themselves caught between the beauty of its architecture and the eerie persistence of its spirits, leaving with stories, sensations, and questions that will linger long after they have left its grounds. The Witch's Dungeon Classic Movie Museum in Springville, Connecticut, is a unique destination for fans of classic horror films. Its walls are lined with life-sized figures, props, and memorabilia from some of the most iconic horror movies ever produced. Visitors come to marvel at the detailed recreations of scenes and to immerse themselves in the eerie world of cinematic terror. Yet, beneath the surface of its carefully curated exhibits lies a layer of real-life mystery that many find unsettling. Numerous reports suggest that the museum is not only home to representations of horror, but may also be a site of actual paranormal activity. Guests and staff at the Witch's Dungeon often recount experiences that defy explanation. Flickering lights are a common occurrence, with bulbs dimming and brightening seemingly on their own, often in areas where no electrical faults are present. These fluctuations are particularly noticeable near some of the museum's more lifelike displays, creating the impression that the figures themselves are somehow aware of the visitor's presence. At times, the lights seem to pulse in rhythm with the ambient sounds of the building, adding a layer of unease that many describe as almost sentient. Unexplained noises are another frequent phenomenon. Visitors have reported hearing footsteps echoing along the hallways, even when the museum is empty. Some describe faint whispers or murmurs that seem to come from the shadows, difficult to locate but impossible to ignore. Others have experienced the sudden clatter of objects, such as props or display items, being displaced without any human contact. In some cases, visitors have even felt brief, cold drafts sweep past them, often accompanied by the sense that an unseen presence is nearby. One particularly unsettling report comes from a museum volunteer who spent an evening closing the exhibits. While walking through the dimly lit corridors, they heard the unmistakable sound of someone walking behind them. When they turned, there was no one there, yet the footsteps continued briefly before fading into silence. At the same time, several display figures seemed to shift positions slightly, as if reacting to an invisible observer. The volunteer later recounted feeling a mix of fear and fascination, certain that the museum held more than just movie magic within its walls. The museum's collection itself may contribute to its paranormal reputation, filled with life-size recreations of iconic horror characters, from vampires to werewolves. The exhibits are incredibly detailed. Some paranormal enthusiasts suggest that the intense emotions associated with these representations, fear, suspense, and even death may have created residual energy in the space. The combination of artistic craftsmanship and the darker themes represented could have inadvertently attracted spirits or heightened sensitivity to unexplained phenomena. Visitors also report seeing shadowy figures moving among the exhibits. These sightings are typically brief, a fleeting silhouette near a display or a peripheral movement that disappears. When directly observed, some claim to have glimpsed eyes reflecting light in the dark corners of the museum, only to find that no display figure occupies that space. Others describe a sensation of being watched, a feeling that intensifies when standing close to certain exhibits, particularly those representing scenes of classic horror confrontations. Auditory phenomena are equally compelling. Some guests have recorded unexplained sounds on their devices, low moans, whispers, or mechanical noises that do not correlate with any known source. In several cases, these recordings capture fleeting voices, calling out names or phrases, though their origins remain mysterious. Even when no other visitors are present, the museum seems to resonate with its own eerie soundtrack, as if the spirits within are enacting their own silent performances. Paranormal investigators who have visited the Witch's Dungeon Classic Movie Museum often report high levels of electromagnetic activity in certain rooms, as well as sudden temperature drops in specific areas. They also describe an almost theatrical quality to the phenomena, as if the building itself is staging events in a manner reminiscent of the horror films it houses. Whether this activity is purely residual, tied to the museum's history, or indicative of sentient spirits remains a matter of speculation, but the consistency of reports lends weight to the idea that the museum's eerie reputation is well learned. The museum's history may also play a role in its mysterious aura. The building itself predates the establishment of the museum and has undergone various renovations over the years. While there are no confirmed accounts of tragic events within the structure, the layering of time, human presence, and creative energy may have contributed to a heightened sensitivity to supernatural occurrences. The combination of these factors creates an environment where the boundaries between cinematic horror and real-world experiences blur, leaving visitors unsure of what is staged and what is genuine. Visitors often leave the museum with stories that linger long after their departure. Some describe feeling an emotional weight in certain rooms, a combination of awe, fear, and curiosity. Others recount fleeting glimpses of figures standing silently near displays or hearing whispered phrases that fade as quickly as they appear. The museum's atmosphere seems to encourage both imagination and observation, allowing each guest to experience the intersection of history, art, and the unexplained in their own way. Even for those skeptical of the paranormal, the Witch's Dungeon Classic Movie Museum offers a chilling reminder that places filled with strong emotional resonance can evoke reactions beyond the ordinary. Whether the occurrences are manifestations of human expectation, subtle environmental influences, or true supernatural activity, they add a layer of depth and intrigue to a space already dedicated to the celebration of horror. The Glebe House Museum and Gertrude Jekyll Garden in Woodbury, Connecticut, stands as a testament to centuries of history. Built in the 18th century as a parsonage for the local church, the house has witnessed the ebb and flow of generations. Its weathered walls and meticulously preserved interiors offer visitors a glimpse into colonial life, while the surrounding gardens, designed in part by the famed landscape architect Gertrude Jekyll, provide a serene and reflective atmosphere. Yet, beneath the charm of its historic architecture and the beauty of its gardens, the Glebe House holds a reputation for the unexplained. Over the years, both staff and visitors have reported unusual phenomena, suggesting that the house may be more than just a museum. It may also be a resting place for lingering spirits. One of the most commonly reported experiences at the Glebe House is the sudden appearance of cold spots. Visitors have described walking through the rooms and feeling a chilling draft in areas that are otherwise unaffected by the weather outside. These cold spots often seem to have no logical source, occurring in the middle of rooms, near doorways, or along hallways. For some, the sudden drop in temperature is accompanied by an inexplicable sense of being watched, as if unseen eyes are tracking their movements through the house. Strange noises are another frequent occurrence. Footsteps echoing along empty hallways, faint whispers in rooms where no one is present, and the soft creaking of floorboards have all been reported. One visitor recounted a particularly unsettling experience while touring the second floor. As they paused to admire a colonial-era portrait, they heard the unmistakable sound of someone walking behind them. When they turned, no one was there. Yet the footsteps continued for a few moments before fading into silence. The visitor described a feeling of both fear and fascination, unsure whether the presence was human, spectral, or something else entirely. Several staff members have also shared experiences of objects moving or appearing in unexpected locations. In one instance, a small decorative item was found, shifted from its original spot, though the room had been empty and locked for hours prior. Other employees have reported hearing doors gently close on their own, or the subtle rustle of curtains when no windows were open. These incidents, while never violent or threatening, contribute to the sense that the house is alive with its own unseen energy. The Glebe House's long history may help explain these occurrences. As a parsonage, the house has seen generations of ministers and their families come and go. It has been a place of both joy and sorrow, hosting celebrations, quiet moments of reflection, and the inevitable passages of life and death. Each event, every life lived within its walls, may have left an imprint on the building, creating residual energy that occasionally manifests as cold spots, noises, or fleeting sensations of presence. Visitors often describe the house as having a palpable atmosphere, one that carries the weight of history and the emotions of those who once called it home. Beyond the house itself, the Gertrude Jekyll Garden adds another layer of mystique. The gardens, with their carefully arranged flower beds, winding paths, and mature trees, are a place of beauty and tranquility. However, some visitors have reported strange experiences even outdoors. Shadows moving among the foliage, fleeting glimpses of figures near the flower beds, and the sensation of being watched while wandering the paths have all been noted. These occurrences suggest that the house and gardens together form a unique environment where the past and present intersect, creating moments of mystery and unease for those sensitive to the unexplained. Historical events associated with the Glebe House may also contribute to its haunted reputation. As a parsonage, the house has been a silent witness to moments of profound human emotion, including illness, death, and grief. Some paranormal enthusiasts suggest that these intense emotional experiences may have imprinted themselves upon the house, resulting in lingering energies that occasionally manifest to those who enter. The combination of personal histories, architectural features, and the serene yet haunting ambience of the gardens creates a setting ripe for paranormal activity. Despite the reports of strange phenomena, the Glebe House Museum remains a cherished historical site. Its staff are well aware of the tales and treat them with a mix of curiosity and respect. They often advise visitors to keep an open mind and pay attention to the subtle details of the house and gardens. Many who have experienced unusual occurrences describe them not as frightening but as poignant reminders of the many lives and stories that have unfolded in the space over centuries. The presence of these unexplained phenomena adds a layer of depth to the visitor experience, blending history with the supernatural in a way that sparks imagination and reflection. Visitors often leave the Glebe House with stories that linger long after their departure. Some recount moments when they felt a gentle brush of air or the sense of a nearby presence. Others describe hearing voices or footsteps, only to find the rooms empty when they turn. These experiences, while subtle, create a memorable connection to the house and its history, allowing guests to feel a personal link to the past. Whether these occurrences are the product of restless spirits, residual energy, or the power of suggestion, they contribute to the Glebe House's enduring mystique. Lake Compounce, nestled in Bristol, Connecticut, holds the distinction of being the oldest continuously operating amusement park in the United States, with a history that stretches back to 1846. Over the decades, the park has evolved from a simple lakeside recreation area into a sprawling amusement destination, complete with roller coasters, carousels, and countless attractions. Yet, beneath the cheerful facade and the laughter of today's visitors, Lake Compounce harbors a darker, more mysterious side. Tales of ghostly sightings, unexplained noises, and unsettling experiences have circulated among staff and thrill seekers alike, suggesting that the park is not only home to modern-day fun, but also to lingering spirits from the past. The origins of Lake Compounce are entwined with history and human emotion. In its earliest days, the park served as a retreat for families seeking leisure and relaxation, drawing crowds for boating, picnicking, and seasonal events. As the years passed, the park expanded, adding rides, games, and eventually the roller coasters that would thrill generations. Yet, with expansion came accidents, untimely deaths, and tragedies that left their mark. It is these past events that some believe have contributed to the park's haunted reputation, with residual energy persisting in areas that were once the site of sorrow or misfortune. One of the most commonly reported phenomena at Lake Compounce involves ghostly apparitions. Staff members and visitors have recounted seeing fleeting figures near the older sections of the park, particularly around the vintage rides and along the lake shore. Some have described the figure of a young woman in early 20th century clothing, appearing suddenly near the carousel or along a wooded path, only to vanish when approached. Others have reported seeing shadowy figures lingering near the edge of the water, their forms indistinct yet unmistakably human. These sightings often occur in the evening, as the sun sets and the park's lively atmosphere gives way to quiet and shadows, creating the perfect conditions for the supernatural to manifest. Unexplained noises are another frequent occurrence. Employees working late hours have reported hearing footsteps echoing across empty paths, the distant laughter of children when no one is present, and the clatter of machinery in areas where rides are shut down for the season. Some have even described the sound of music drifting through the air, as if a forgotten carousel had come to life on its own. Visitors have recounted similar experiences, often noting that these phenomena are subtle yet persistent, a whispered reminder that the park's past is never entirely gone. Certain rides and attractions have gained particular notoriety among those who follow the park's paranormal activity. For instance, the classic wooden roller coaster has long been rumored to harbor residual energy from past accidents. Employees have reported feeling sudden chills while maintaining the ride late at night, along with the eerie sensation of unseen eyes watching from the shadows. Others have described hearing faint voices or screams, which vanish as quickly as they appear, leaving behind only the natural creaks and groans of the aging structure. Similarly, the carousel, with its antique horses and intricate woodwork, has been the site of reported apparitions and strange, unexplained movements. Some claim to have seen the painted horses shift slightly when no one is near, or to have felt a tap on the shoulder while walking past, though the area remained empty. The park's history provides possible context for these phenomena. Lake Compounds has witnessed countless generations of visitors, employees, and performers, each leaving their own emotional mark. Accidents and tragedies, while rare, were often highly publicized and emotionally charged, potentially leaving lingering energy that manifests in subtle, ghostly ways. Additionally, the park's lakeside location, combined with its older, original structures, creates natural environments for strange optical illusions and atmospheric effects, which may amplify the sense of the paranormal. Despite or perhaps because of these reports, Lake Compounds continues to draw crowds eager to experience both its history and its thrills. Employees, while often skeptical, have come to accept the occasional unexplained phenomena as part of the park's character. Many describe the experiences not as frightening but as intriguing, a reminder that the park carries centuries of memories, both joyous and sorrowful, that occasionally surface in unexpected ways. Some thrill seekers even visit specifically hoping to catch a glimpse of the unexplained, adding a modern layer to the park's storied past. Visitors frequently leave the park with stories of fleeting shadows, sudden cold drafts, and soft, unexplained sounds. Some recount brief encounters with figures who seem to observe from a distance before disappearing, while others describe an unshakable feeling of being watched during solitary walks along the older paths. These experiences, subtle and ephemeral, create a personal connection to the park's long and layered history. Whether these occurrences are the product of restless spirits, lingering energy, or simply the imagination of those attuned to the unusual, they remain an enduring part of the Lake Compounds experience. The Trail of Terror in Wallingford, Connecticut, has long been celebrated as one of the region's premier haunted attractions. For over 30 years, thrill seekers have flocked to the site each Halloween season, eager to test their courage against the elaborate sets, terrifying actors, and carefully crafted scares. But beyond the fog machines, strobe lights, and blood-curdling screams, the Trail of Terror holds a darker, more mysterious presence. For decades, staff, visitors, and even paranormal investigators have reported strange occurrences that go far beyond the realm of theatrical horror, suggesting that the attraction may be home to real spirits lingering long after the cameras are turned off. The Trail of Terror is more than just a seasonal haunt. It is a labyrinthine network of paths, cabins, and abandoned structures that winds through wooded areas and open fields. The environment itself is naturally eerie, with shadows stretching unnaturally through the trees. The occasional creak of a branch, and a lake that reflects the night in unsettling ways. While the designers and actors strive to create controlled fear, many claim that the trail's history has left an indelible mark that cannot be fully contained by scripted scares or mechanical tricks. Some staff members have said that the energy within the trail is palpable, an unseen weight that intensifies as darkness falls. Numerous accounts describe sightings of ghostly figures that appear and vanish without explanation. One longtime employee reported seeing the translucent figure of a young woman in early 20th century clothing standing near the edge of the trail, her expression sorrowful yet calm, before disappearing into the mist. Others have seen shadowy shapes flit between trees or felt the presence of someone or something following them along narrow paths, only to find no one there. These figures are often described as fleeting but unmistakable, leaving those who witness them shaken and questioning what is real versus what is staged. Unexplained noises are another common phenomenon at the Trail of Terror. Actors and visitors alike have reported hearing footsteps echoing in areas that should be empty, doors creaking open or closed on their own, and the faint whispering of voices just beyond earshot. Sometimes, these sounds appear to mimic the movement of people along the trail. Yet, when investigated, no human presence can be found. Some have even reported hearing laughter, childlike, joyful, or eerie in areas where no one has entered for hours. These auditory anomalies, combined with the naturally unsettling atmosphere, create a sense that the attraction is alive with memories and presences that are not part of the performance. Certain locations within the trail are particularly notorious for paranormal activity. One old cabin, used in the past as a storage shed for props and costumes, is rumored to be the most active site. Staff have reported objects moving inexplicably, cold spots that chill to the bone, and the occasional glimpse of a figure peering from a window before vanishing. The old woods surrounding the trail have their own stories, with visitors claiming to hear footsteps crunching through leaves behind them when no one is near, or to feel a sudden, inexplicable weight on their shoulders as they navigate the darker paths. The history of the trail itself may provide clues as to why these occurrences are so persistent. Before the Trail of Terror was officially established as a haunted attraction, the land was used for various purposes, including farms, small homes, and abandoned structures. Generations of people lived and died on these grounds, leaving behind memories and emotions that some believe continue to resonate. Additionally, the trail has employed hundreds of actors over the decades, many of whom have brought intense emotion, energy, and focus to their roles. Paranormal experts sometimes speculate that this repeated human attention, combined with the history of the land, has created a sort of energetic imprint, a lingering presence that manifests as ghostly apparitions and unexplainable sounds. Visitors often describe the feeling of being watched while walking the trail, even when surrounded by friends. Staff have recounted objects shifting unexpectedly, props falling from shelves without cause, and lights flickering in patterns that seem intentional, as though someone or something is trying to communicate. Some who have stayed behind after hours have reported hearing whispers calling their names, only to find the area empty. Others have felt sudden chills or the sensation of a presence standing just behind them, intensifying the tension and fear already cultivated by the trail's haunted design. Paranormal investigators have occasionally visited the Trail of Terror to document these occurrences, using infrared cameras, EVP devices, and motion sensors. Some have captured unusual readings that defy conventional explanation, recorded voices that respond to questions, shadowy forms appearing on camera, and sudden drops in temperature have all been documented, lending credibility to the anecdotal experiences reported by staff and visitors. While skeptics argue that the fear-driven environment could account for these reports, the consistency and number of experiences over the decades suggest that there may be more to the Trail of Terror than theatrical scares. Despite or perhaps because of its haunted reputation, the Trail of Terror continues to draw crowds eager to experience both the thrill of its attractions, and the possibility of encountering the supernatural. Visitors report that the fear is more intense, knowing that some of the phenomena they might experience could be real. For many, the blend of carefully staged frights and unexplained paranormal activity creates a uniquely chilling environment, one that lingers long after they leave the trail. Fright Haven in Stratford, Connecticut, has long been a staple of the local haunted attraction scene. Known for its dual indoor haunts, it draws crowds each Halloween season, eager to experience the thrill of fear. Guests navigate its dimly lit corridors, jump at sudden scares, and encounter elaborately designed sets intended to unsettle the bravest of visitors. But beyond the carefully orchestrated frights lies an unsettling truth. Fright Haven may be haunted not only by the actors and props that fill its halls, but by spirits that have lingered long before the attraction opened, and perhaps by those who came afterward. The attraction itself consists of 2 indoor haunts, each designed to immerse visitors in a labyrinth of terror. Creeping shadows, fog-filled rooms, and walls adorned with grotesque imagery create an atmosphere that is unnerving even for seasoned thrill-seekers. While most of the fear is theatrical, many visitors and staff have reported incidents that go far beyond what could be explained by the attraction's design. Flickering lights, unexplained thuds, and doors that open and close without human intervention are frequently mentioned. Some guests even report hearing faint whispers or footsteps behind them, only to turn around and see nothing at all. These experiences suggest that Fright Haven may be a hotspot for paranormal activity. One of the most frequently discussed locations within Fright Haven is the older section of the attraction, where props are stored and where staff often prepare for nightly operations. Employees have shared stories of hearing voices calling their names in empty hallways or seeing shadows move in ways that seem purposeful. On several occasions, security cameras captured objects moving slightly or lights flickering in patterns that cannot be attributed to electrical issues. Staff members report feeling sudden chills or a sense of being watched, even when alone. For some, the energy is so tangible that it becomes difficult to distinguish between real hauntings and the adrenaline-fueled environment of the attraction. The origins of these hauntings are the subject of speculation. Some believe that the spirits of previous employees who devoted long hours to the attraction or perhaps passed away unexpectedly continue to linger in the spaces they once occupied. Others suggest that the very land Fright Haven occupies holds residual energy from past events. Local lore hints at accidents, misfortunes, and unexplained occurrences that predate the haunted attraction, suggesting that the land itself may retain echoes of the past. Whatever the cause, those who have spent significant time in Fright Haven agree that the presence felt there is more than atmospheric. It is personal, intimate, and often startling. Visitors frequently report an uncanny sense of being followed or observed, particularly in the darker sections of the haunts. Some have claimed that certain rooms or corridors feel heavier than others, as if the air itself resists their passage. Others have reported cold spots that appear suddenly, often preceding strange noises or the brief flicker of lights. Many who experience these phenomena admit that the sensations are difficult to attribute to the attraction's staged scares, creating an eerie tension that lingers long after they leave. In addition to auditory and tactile experiences, visual apparitions have been described. Some staff members report seeing shadowy figures dart between corners, sometimes resembling former actors or staff, only to vanish when approached. Guests have occasionally glimpsed pale shapes in the periphery of their vision, sometimes appearing to watch silently from darkened hallways or rooms. These fleeting glimpses often leave a lasting impression, creating unease that goes beyond the controlled scares Fright Haven is designed to deliver. The haunted reputation of Fright Haven has attracted paranormal investigators over the years. Using infrared cameras, electromagnetic field meters, and EVP, electronic voice phenomenon devices, some researchers have captured unexplained activity. Recorded voices that answer questions, sudden drops in temperature, and shadows moving across hallways without human presence have all been documented. While skeptics argue that fear and anticipation can create illusions, the consistency of reports from different visitors, staff, and investigators over decades suggest that something more may be at play. Despite these reports, the presence of spirits or unexplained energy has not deterred the attraction's loyal patrons. On the contrary, many thrill-seekers find the possibility of genuine paranormal activity to be an added layer of excitement. Walking the darkened hallways, surrounded by elaborate sets and live actors, becomes even more unnerving when the fear of encountering something truly unexplainable is added to the mix. Visitors leave with more than just memories of staged frights. They carry stories of flickering lights, footsteps in empty rooms, and whispers that seem to come from nowhere. For staff, working at Frighthaven is a unique experience. Many describe a dual reality, where they are part of a crafted haunted environment while simultaneously encountering phenomena that defy explanation. Objects move without cause, lights flicker in patterns, and cold spots appear spontaneously. Some have reported feeling sudden pressure on their shoulders, the brush of a hand when no one is present, or the sensation of being guided down hallways by an unseen force. These encounters, while unnerving, are often treated with a mixture of respect and cautious curiosity, as if acknowledging that the spirits share the space with them rather than opposing it. Frighthaven in Stratford stands as a testament to the intertwining of human fear and the unknown. While the attraction's elaborate haunts and expertly staged scares draw crowds each season, the persistent reports of unexplained activity suggest that there is more to the venue than meets the eye. Shadows moving in the corner of a hallway, unexplained whispers, flickering lights, and sudden chills all contribute to an atmosphere where the line between theatrical fright and real hauntings becomes indistinct. The Dark Manor Haunted House in Baltic, Connecticut, has been a staple of the local Halloween scene for over 2 decades, known for its elaborate sets, chilling effects, and live actors. The attraction draws thrill-seekers from across the region, eager to confront their fears. Its dark corridors, fog-filled rooms, and carefully orchestrated scares create an immersive experience designed to make even the bravest visitors jump. Yet, beyond the controlled frights and theatrics, many people believe that something far more sinister lingers within the walls of the Dark Manor, something that cannot be explained by special effects or stagecraft alone. Operating for over 20 years, the Dark Manor has accumulated more than just decorations and props. The building itself has a long history, with stories of strange events predating its use as a haunted attraction. Former employees and paranormal investigators have reported experiences that defy simple explanation. Flickering lights, sudden cold spots, footsteps echoing in empty hallways, and shadowy figures glimpsed in peripheral vision are frequently cited by both staff and visitors. These phenomena often occur in areas away from the main attraction paths, particularly in storage rooms, staff offices, and the attic, suggesting that the manor may harbor energies independent of the haunted house's performance. One of the most common reports involves shadowy figures moving through the hallways. Staff members describe seeing fleeting shapes that appear human but vanish when approached. Some believe these figures could be the spirits of previous actors or patrons who have died over the years, while others suggest that they are echoes of past events connected to the building itself. Visitors sometimes report feeling an invisible presence following them through the rooms, accompanied by sudden drops in temperature or the sensation of being watched. These experiences create a tension beyond the scripted scares, leaving guests with a sense of unease long after they leave. In addition to visual phenomena, auditory experiences are frequently reported. Unexplained footsteps, whispering voices, and objects moving on their own have all been documented. Employees have recounted instances where props fell or shifted without any physical cause, or where the sound of a person walking was heard on empty staircases. Some have reported hearing faint laughter or cries echoing through the halls, sounds that cannot be attributed to the attractions, performers, or recordings. For those present, these occurrences are chilling, as they suggest that unseen presences share the space with the living. Paranormal investigators have shown a particular interest in the Dark Manor, using cameras, infrared devices, and EVP electronic voice phenomenon recorders. Some researchers have captured evidence they believe indicates real paranormal activity. Shadowy forms appearing on video, cold spots detected by thermal cameras, and unexplained audio captured on EVP devices support the accounts of staff and visitors. While skeptics argue that fear, imagination, and environmental factors can account for many of these experiences, the consistency of the reports over 2 decades makes a compelling case for the Manor's haunted reputation. The building's history may offer clues as to why spirits are drawn to this location. While it has been a haunted attraction for over 20 years, prior uses of the property remain obscure, though rumors suggest it once served as a private residence and possibly other functions that involved human hardship or tragedy. The accumulation of these energies, combined with the intense emotional atmosphere created during each haunted season, may contribute to the manor's enduring paranormal presence. Some believe that the fear and excitement generated each night resonate with lingering spirits, strengthening their manifestations. Staff members often describe a dual reality when working at the Dark Manor. On one hand, they are performing in a theatrical environment, intentionally frightening guests with costumes, makeup, and props. On the other, they sometimes encounter phenomena that are unpredictable and unexplainable. Sudden cold drafts, the brush of a hand when no one is nearby, or a feeling of being guided down a hallway by an unseen force are all experiences that many actors have shared. For some, these encounters are thrilling and invigorating. For others, they are unsettling and a reminder that the attraction may be home to more than just staged scares. Visitors who experience these unexplained events often describe a lingering sense of unease that persists after they leave. Stories of seeing shadowy figures, hearing voices, or feeling a presence near them are passed along year after year, adding to the Dark Manor's mystique and reputation as a haunted hotspot. Despite tour, perhaps because of its eerie reputation, the Dark Manor Haunted House continues to draw crowds eager for both entertainment and the possibility of encountering the supernatural. The attraction's careful design, combined with the unexplained phenomena reported by staff and visitors, ensures that each visit is unique. While some come for the thrill of staged scares, many leave with stories of events that feel far more authentic, encounters that haunt their memories long after they walk out the front door. The Dark Manor in Baltic stands as a fascinating intersection of human fear, theatrical horror, and paranormal mystery. Its long history, combined with 2 decades of haunted house operations, has created a space where real and imagined terror coexist. Visitors experience designed frights alongside events that defy explanation, making every visit an adventure into the unknown. Shadows that move without explanation, whispers that drift through empty rooms, cold spots that appear suddenly, and objects that move on their own, all suggest that the manor is more than a haunted attraction. It is a place where the energies of the past continue to linger. Thank you for joining me on this haunting journey through Connecticut's most notorious haunted mansions. Each of these locations holds secrets of the past, where tragedy and the supernatural intertwine. If you enjoyed this exploration into the eerie and unexplained, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more spine-chilling tales. Until next time, keep your lights on and your curiosity alive.